So I'm away from the mothership. I don't have any of my technology. I'm recording on my laptop, which I hate, in a hotel. It's not even a hotel lobby. It's like there's a pool here. There's some shuffleboard. There's a ping pong table, a playground. Like at any moment, this place could be infiltrated by like kids and loud noise. And it's like the best Wi-Fi spot in the entire hotel. So here we are. But it's good to see you, Parlay Pete, because I missed you last week.
Yeah, man. Same here. Same here. I was a little sad when you said on draft day it was going to be after. I'm like, well, hell, that's going to be midnight. You know, that's when the draft ends. But we made do with our time, anyways. Since that was Thursday of last week, of course, the Falcons had their draft party. So we went in there to see who the newest addition to the team was going to be, and how much more the Falcons were going to try and kiss the fans' ass since we're not going to be good, basically. And this is truly the beginning of a new era.
You know what, man? Let's just hop into this NFL draft overreaction, starting with the Falcons, because you can tell the Falcons aren't feeling good about their draft picks because you got the mocks for next year giving us C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young already, and you got Terry Fontenot going on Jim Rome. Like, dude, you're not a brand new GM. You should not be on Rome right after the draft. And I'm riding the car yesterday, get a call, and it says maybe, and it's my ticket agent, and I'm like, what does he want? He has no reason to be calling me, but I answer it. Hey, would you like to tune into a call with Falcons GM Terry Fontenot?
Click,
No, I don't want to talk to Terry.
click.
Terry should have called me before the draft. Going back to your recommendation, I know I don't want to talk to you, Terry. I would have taken I would have taken Drake London at at 8, and not because I don't think Drake London will be a good receiver. We have the big guy with Pitts. We could have went after Jamison Williams. We could have went after Chris Olave. We could have went after any of the receivers on the board. And I would have been okay. But Drake London, the guy who practically he slowed Kyle Pitts.
So I wasn't completely disappointed with the pick. I know that wasn't the popular. I thought we were going to do Garrett Wilson. That is who I thought we were going to take.
Hmm.
He looked highlight wise. He looked like Jamar Chase. Like, to me, that's kind of what he looked like. And so I figured that they were going to go for that because he's not small. You know what I mean? He's really kind of perfect wide receiver size, 6'1". Looks
Well,
like he's got some jets on him. I mean, but this is what I will say. When I was watching before the draft, about a week before, I did see highlights of Drake London's pro day. And the one thing I noticed while I was watching, I was like, man, this guy looks like a gazelle. Like the way that I don't know, he looked a lot like Mike Evans. And like I literally said that. I was like, man, he looks like Mike Evans. Now, granted, pro day is just him running routes, but they were fluid. I mean, his strides, like I could just tell, I'm like, man, he gets an open field, he could be a problem because it's going to be hard to bring him down. And even though his 40 wasn't very fast, he seems like the type of guy that once he gets in the middle of the running,
yeah,
it'll be the natural speed kind of element. And so I wasn't totally upset with the pick. And the main reason I wasn't upset with it was because I was like, well, I mean, we got holes everywhere. Now, could they have just waited until the second round to get George Pickens? Yeah. And it would have been popular with everybody because most Falcons fans are Georgia fans, or they're
hmm
at the bare minimum, you're an SEC fan and you're super familiar with George Pickens. We
right.
don't watch Pac-12 football, so I had never seen Drake, and I bet on this stuff, but I had never seen Drake London. I don't remember him. So,
Well,
there were
here's
all those guys out there that you could get, and, if it's not broke, don't fix it. We typically go for Alabama guys, and they always work out
and here's the one thing, and
until they start gambling or, or get a phone call from Shannon Sharp.
you know, here's the one thing, and maybe that's what turned us off. New regime. Well, never mind. Rich McKay's still there, but what I think,
He had some say-so. You know
here's
that.
what I, here's what I think. Right, that's what I got Terry doing the dog and pony show now, clean up Rich's mess. But when you think about the matchup, the fact that we have two guys 6'5", 6'6", that we can put on the outside, you don't have corners for that. And if Marcus Mariota is going to start again, when we make this pick, Marcus Mariota is a starter. He's not the most accurate quarterback in the league. So we go, okay, well, we got a catch. We got we need quarterbacks with wide catch radiuses because Mariota, can't throw a pinhole through a damn whatever. He can't throw the ball in the ocean. He's just going to throw it up, and hopefully we get that going. But honestly, I like the Desmond Ritter pick. I love the Desmond Ritter pick. We got him in the third round. He can go compete with Mariota for the job, and then he can, either barbecue or mildew, or we can Josh Rosen him at the end of the year. And even if he has a decent season, when I say decent, if we're in contention for CJ, we get ballsy and we make a play. Or if we win 8 or 9 games, we go, you know what? We've got Dak Prescott, and now we know what direction to go with the roster.
And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. This is really my hope, crazy enough. I hope that Ritter beats him. I hope that he beats Mariota out personally, because I think that we need to see him immediately.
Yes,
we really need to because we need to know whether or not this is going to be something you want to build around or not. And he is only going to have this season to prove it. This is going to be his only season to prove it, because if the record is bad enough, they're going to want, CJ or Bryce. That they're going to want one of those guys. And I, for one, obviously I'm team CJ. I really want CJ. I think that, and mainly because he's bigger than Bryce. He's 6'3". Bryce is a little bit more of an elusive runner, but
he's little, man. I don't want a little quarterback.
Me neither.
We had Michael Vick.
Yeah, and CJ, I don't know, hit low key, because they didn't play in the Big Ten championship, and they only played in one bowl game, as opposed to Bryce Young played in the SEC championship in 2 bowl games, basically, the playoffs. CJ's stats were better than his. He had a higher QBR, more yards per attempt. His numbers were better than his. And I think that if they had beaten Michigan, he could have very easily been, the Heisman winner.
But, some would say that CJ is just propped up by his stacked receiving core in a Big Ten that doesn't have the best DBs, the best athletes. But here's what I'll say. We're talking Bryce and CJ. There's somebody else that's going to emerge next year that's actually going to be good. Most years aren't like this past year where everybody just goes into the tank and nobody really emerges as the top quarterback. I mean, maybe Kenny Pickett definitely emerged, but Kenny Pickett didn't come out of nowhere like a Joe Burrow did.
Yeah.
But there's going to be somebody. And Spencer Rattler has a bounce back year and lights up the SEC and wins 10 wins.
Yeah.
Plays Georgia tough. He's going to be right back in everybody's mouth, especially if they start hearing, oh, he's a great teammate. He's matured. He's turned around. The guys love him. Because they want Spence to be great.
Right. Well, and it makes a great story, too. He leaves, and it's just like he needed redemption. He got benched for all intents and purposes. Caleb Williams is expected to be, obviously not next year's draft, but the following year's draft, he's expected to be that number 1 pick. And so,
they said he would have went number 1 this year.
The potential's there. I think CJ, to me, looks better. And I think that Ohio State, the Big Ten doesn't have the best defenses, but it sure as fuck's better than watching him play watching Caleb Williams play Oklahoma. I mean, it's Oklahoma. No, not Oklahoma, Texas. We're looking at these, when you start thinking about the defenses in the Big 12, I mean,
they don't play defense.
They're worse than the fucking defenses in the Big Ten. And Caleb, his numbers weren't even as good as CJ. So,
well, no, and here's the thing, man. I think that, I've been listening to draft philosophies, and we were going to hit on this a couple weeks ago, right? But the difference between production and traits. And I think there's these different, you look for the production to be at a certain place, right? And then once the production is at that top end, you start looking at traits. Because if you think about a Graham Harrell or the guy out of Hawaii, right? Or Blaine Gabbert, hell, these guys had the production,
Yeah.
But you look at them, they don't have the traits, and that's why those guys don't work out, don't get drafted, they're backups and stuff like that. But with these guys, I'm comfortable in saying I don't have the trained eye to tell you the difference in a lot of the traits when the production is similar. I'm gonna lean on production and competition. And I want to say that to get us into the pushback on draft picks. And I was listening to Mike Lombardi talk about it because I think Mike Lombardi is one of the best angry former GM voices who's in football media. He goes, you get these stupid draft grades, and how are you going to grade the draft before they play? Like you're grading them against where you value the player, but you don't know where the team valued the player. And no offense to McShay, Kuiper, or Daniel Jeremiah, none of them have ran a draft room before. Like he said, because Skip and Shannon was discussing the Patriots first round pick out of UT chat. He was like, I'm not saying it's the right pick, but have Skip and Shannon watched as much film as Belichick? Like, have they watched the film on all the players to say whether or not this person should go in this place, or are they just repeating what the draft media says? And if at any point we need to stop believing the draft media, like specifically the draft media, Malik Willis is a prime example of that, man. Like,
yeah, he was basically predicted to go 6 the
and
entire.
but anybody who was not a big four voice in the draft media was like, he's a third round quarterback. He may get drafted early because of the way people go quarterback crazy, but he has first round skills, but he doesn't have first round production. He doesn't have first round. He's not refined like a first round guy, and he didn't play well against top competition.
Hell, he didn't play well against some bad competition. Like I said, we bring up the UL Monroe game. I mean, like I said, look, man, completing 40% of your passes, throwing for 130 yards and 3 picks, that ain't getting it done. And I don't want to see that shit on the field when you got to go against defenses like Tampa, the Rams. These are real defenses. You know what I mean? Aaron Donald is fucking coming for you, and so is Von Miller. Like these, I know he's not on the Rams anymore, but you know what I'm saying? Like
in division, Cam Jordan, who's sad that Matt Ryan
Falcons. He said he was sad Matt Ryan was gone.
Yeah. He was like, Matt Ryan's the reason I got to 100 sacks.
Right. And he's right. He's right. He's right. He's right. Matt Ryan, that stat that came out over the last 5 years, Matt Ryan's been sacked more than anyone.
Well, and that's why some people are curious as to why we drafted a wide receiver instead of a tackle.
So, okay, and that's what I was about to get into. So this was the only thing I wish I could have changed maybe. Now, the draft literally just didn't fall their way because I said if Neal was there, I was like, well, you almost have to get him. I thought if Thibodeau was there, you got to go Thibodeau. Like, you know what I mean? These were the picks that I was like, these guys might fall. Giants did a good job. Like, you know what I mean? They selected both of them. And so, and then the
Jets,
Panthers got my man out of
NC State. Yeah. Oh no. But no, the Panthers did what we thought that the Falcons would do is get the home state guys. Instead of the linebacker version of Taysom Hill, we could have got Kobe Dean.
Yeah, and I understood everybody kept wanting to talk about injuries.
Not prototypical.
There's injury, but I don't know. Like, that they kept trying to bring up that was the reason he fell. And then it was, well, he's 5'11". And it's like, man, fuck that. What did we see on the field against the best competition in college football?
Well, so I was talking to a friend.
33 SEC players were selected in the first 3 rounds of the draft.
And he dominated.
That's almost one full round. That is one full round.
Yeah. So something funny about the Kobe Dean thing, right? And I kept thinking about it as I was talking to one of my guys who's a college coach. And he was telling me about recruiting philosophy and telling me about the recruiting philosophy of another one of his friends who's actually at one of the better NFL producing programs right now. And he was like, it's built on the measurables. And you'll have some of these guys, size, speed, frame, film, terrible. And we can teach them football. We just need his body to teach his body football. We can't teach the body. We can't teach the speed. And I think that N'Kobe Dean fell victim of that, and that these teams in the first 2 rounds, these teams weren't comfortable saying, "Hey, this guy knows how to play football, and we need to make sure that we scheme around his his deficiencies." Whereas he gets to keep Jordan Davis in front of him, he got a couple more years of Fletcher Cox in front of him, and I don't trust Howie drafting on the outside on the perimeter, but Howie can draft the trenches.
Yeah, that's never the Eagles have always had a good defensive line and a good offensive line. When they're
So
healthy, of course, because I know
right,
injuries catch up on people. But we know that he's got a notorious history of, you know,
the trenches are good. So
drafting busts, at wide receiver to name a specific position. But
Jalen Rager,
Jalen Rager, Nelson Aguilar, and these were both Pac-12 guys. So that is which gets back to the Drake London thing. That's where I kind of do have it. I mean, there's a history of these guys not being very good. I look at the Detroit Lions. They drafted Mike Williams,
Roy Williams, well, he went Pac-12,
and Charles Rogers. Now, I know they weren't all Pac-12, but obviously Mike Williams was a USC guy. Hell, Nelson Aguilar is a USC guy.
Who's been good out of USC? Steve Smith. And he was out of the league in a few years.
1 year with the Giants, right?
Yeah. USC, and we're gonna come back to the draft. Let's talk about NIL going crazy real quick, but not really, because everybody's going crazy about USC. Specifically, one of the loudest, biggest voices in sports talk, Colin Cowherd. It's just really just linking this USC that. Hey, Lincoln Riley hasn't won a national championship. Lincoln Riley was at a school that's been consistently better than USC. USC's peaks are the top of the top, but Oklahoma doesn't have the valleys that USC has. Lincoln Riley played against trash week in and week out and would always blow a game. And then he gets into the college football playoff and he blows the biggest lead to Georgia. And that should have let us know exactly what Baker Mayfield was made of, which is why he's homeless and he should probably go back to Oklahoma and be a fucking quarterbacks coach, for being honest here. But everybody's going crazy about this USC stuff. And yeah, they have the most players in the league right now. But by the time Saban and Kirby retire, the South's gonna have something to say.
Yeah, well, and just in general, I mean, look, you got to follow the money, right? I mean, it's LA, Hollywood. There's going to be a lot of people that are USC grads that, work for these places that are boosters already. They've been wanting this for so long. And, I know that Nick Saban, they're kind of, everybody's got their own thoughts on what, this is mainly bad for college because you're basically buying players.
Bro,
they're already buying players.
They're lying though. They don't mean it. They're just saying it because it sounds good.
Right. But in general, that's been going on anyways. Like we know that players have been getting paid. So I think that what it comes down to is you got to get yourself a coach that everybody wants to play for. Because if that's the case, shit, it's enough motherfuckers to where, look, you could put anyone anywhere. Like, I mean, what's my man's name that went to Jackson State to be with Coach Prime?
Travis Hunter or something like that. I don't remember.
He was the number one player in the fucking thing, and he went to – and I know that he definitely turned down money when it comes to the NIL aspect, right?
But the thing that Coach Prime said, NFL or NIL, and I think for him specifically, a guy who's probably going to play on both sides of the ball, a DB, there is nothing that any of those coaches can give him outside of a chance at a national championship that he can't get from Deion Sanders.
Yeah, you're going to get more from Deion.
Yeah.
Especially being a corner, you're going to get – he's literally considered the greatest corner of all time.
And he's plugged in with Under Armour. Yeah. Like he has the endorsements himself.
Affleck
that he can leverage for his players. Like these were endorsements he would have as Coach Prime or as Prime Time. When he was a high school coach, he had these endorsements. So Deion
and he cut them in on the deal.
Yeah. So here's the one thing though, and I think the college football media is so They're just so self-righteous. College sports media is so self-righteous because they think their sport is much more pure than the professional sport. But it's like, dude, kids have been getting paid. Like, I do not know a Division I athlete who did not get a bag.
Yeah.
Now it's legal. You know what I mean? It's like the difference between prostitution being illegal, where it is in most places, or like going to the bunny ranch out in Nevada. If you go to the bunny ranch, yeah, or going overseas and going to a brothel, right? If you go to a brothel,
Man, Lamar Odom was
yeah, like everybody's like, oh yeah, he went to the brothel. Yeah, that's what you do. You go to the brothel, you have fun.
red light district.
Yeah, but then when it's illegal, it's like, oh, whoa, 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 we don't do that. Like I can't, we're ruining the game. No, we're not, bro. We're just dropping off bags to people again who who deserve to get paid for their services. And now I think that the transfer portal is the issue. I don't have a problem with the NIL because these are endorsement deals. Since when do we want to put a cap on endorsement deals? But the fact that I can wake up today and want to transfer because I didn't get enough clock yesterday, I think that's problematic, and I think that it should be controlled and there be a free agency period, a transfer period, right, in each
Yeah.
semester.
Well, that's the issue that everybody has with Addison, right? He was the Bendikoff award winner right out of Pitt. Had basically the best season of any wide receiver, and now he's just picking up his bags and going. Now, granted, Pickett's gone. Maybe that had something to do with it.
He went to spring practice.
Slovis.
He had spring practice with Slovis, and he was like, "Nah, B, my draft stock gonna drop."
Right, well, right. He probably was thinking to himself, he's like, man, this dude's gonna take money out of my fucking mouth. Like,
Like,
and so
if I'm gonna play for a bad quarterback, I'll go play with
some people
Stetson.
talk about Slovis being a first round pick next year.
I saw that.
Now, like I said, we know these way too early are just that, way too fucking early.
Way too early.
And so I don't expect very much out of Slovis, but nonetheless, especially if he loses, which he is, because he just entered. But anywho,
Let's get back to. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say in general, the NIL, it is what it is, and you know, everybody, the college football traditionalists, they got to get over it. These things change, and it's good for the players, especially those guys that aren't going to be the guys that go to the NFL and light it up. I mean, think about it. Somebody like I granted Johnny and Tim were first round picks, right? They were first round picks. So
Well, Tebow said he would have done it for love of the game. He didn't need that money.
What? Oh, you're saying at Florida? He would have taken the money anyways. There's no way he would have turned it down.
Tim Tebow has been taking money from ESPN and minor league baseball for the last 5 years. So I don't want to hear shit he has to say. He's an opportunist if I've ever seen one. You know, but the NIL is just finding out that Santa Claus is real. It isn't real. That's all it is. We're just uncovering. We're just uncovering facts. It's like, oh, my parents' budget for Christmas.
Right.
That's all it is.
We just know who it is now.
Right. Let's get back to the draft overreaction a little bit, though. So the Jets won the draft?
I mean, certainly their first 4 picks were what appeared to be home runs. I mean, what they got, Sauce. Think about it, Sauce wasn't even the first corner taken. And I get it, because Stingley was looked at as so elite that freshman year with, with the guys, with Burrow, with that super team, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they got Sauce. They got Garrett Wilson, which was the shocker because a lot of people probably figured we would have probably taken him, and that maybe they would have got Drake London, or who knows, maybe they would have got Jameson.
Lions, yeah.
Yeah, and so it ended up working out for them. And then I know a lot of people. There are a lot of rumblings about Johnson out of Florida State because he was at Georgia for like 3 years, and
he just wasn't ready. He couldn't see the field for us.
Well, some people were saying that that's who they thought we might have. But clearly that would have been semi-reach. I wish we had just traded back.
Same. We talked about that before.
We ended up trading up in the second round anyways. And I wish we had just traded back. But and then you got Breece Hall, who was a dog the last 2 years. Fuck him too, because Iowa State cost me money. And on their senior day, I couldn't fucking believe it, man. They scored 28 points in the fourth quarter. And he like busted one for he like first play like 80 yards. It was the craziest thing I had ever seen. And then they were throwing it, they were up fucking 4 touchdowns having an air raid. And I'm like, why aren't y'all just running the clock? I don't get it. Like,
and Matt Campbell didn't go get a new job.
No, he didn't, and he's gonna suffer for it.
Like, why did you run it up without getting a new job, man? Like, that's dumb.
He could have had NFL,
NIL,
yeah.
NHL,
Yeah.
PAL.
Yeah, he could go anywhere. And so, but anyways, no, I think the Jets were a big winner.
The Giants had a good first round.
The Giants definitely had a good first round. I think that they got 2 guys for the most part that they're not going to be able to miss on. Because even if Thibodeau, turns out to be Jadeveon Clowney, like Jadeveon Clowney never lived up to the hype of what he was, but he still has been a very solid pro. He's an 8-sack guy a year. He's going to give you 8. If they can get that out of Thibodeau, that's a win. In my opinion.
He's a good run stopper. At the end of the day, you want more for your first overall pick, but if you can draft a everyday NFL starter with your first round pick, what more can we ask for? Let me see. I don't even want to give draft grades or even talk about grades. I think that's crazy. I just Pittsburgh did what Pittsburgh does. When you see George Pickens go second round to Pittsburgh, you just be like, he was a first rounder. Because he was a 5-star, he was a first rounder.
Missed all last year.
Like, exactly. And you're thinking in the back of your head, but you're really sitting there like, no. He was a first rounder. If Pittsburgh takes him in the second, he's probably going to have top 3 production out of this draft class.
I would imagine he's going to be rookie year just because he is going to be sharing the ball a little, and we don't know how Kenny Pickett's going to play and/or Mitchell Trubisky. Don't really know how that dynamic's going to work.
I know how Mitchell Trubisky is going to play.
I could easily see him in year 1, 68 catches, 900 yards, 6 touchdowns. I could see that in year 1.
Yeah. A.J. Brown to Philly.
They overpaid, but I'm not a huge fan of A.J. Brown in general. Okay. I think that he's solid. I don't think that he's $25 million wide receiver, and I know that that's the going rate now, but I think that he got overpaid, and I think that, we'll see what happens. We saw that there was injuries this year. Let's hope that that's not the start of that, I guess, for him, because he is a bigger receiver too. So, we'll see. I think that all in all, I guess they wanted the proven commodity over what they could have got, and they did have 2 first-round picks, and then they still got 2 next year. So, they're in a good position, but they're going to see whether or not that works out this year, because either it's going to definitely be put up or shut up for Jalen Hurts, no matter what.
So, do you think Hollywood Brown was worth the 23rd pick in the draft?
They gave up a first for Hollywood?
Yeah, they gave up the 23rd pick, number 23 for Hollywood.
I wouldn't have did that. I wouldn't have did that. I think I did like the idea of him going there, and clearly now we know that they knew that Nuke was going to be out those first 6 games. They knew about the suspension already.
Can I talk about that real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a little inside knowledge on what happened to Nuke. Not specifically to him, but what happens to professional athletes who test positive for performance-enhancing drugs. All right, they're not taking roids. All they're doing is taking masking agents for weed. Because here's what it tells you. Nuke Hopkins failed a drug test at some point in his career, probably at the combine, where a lot of players fail a drug test. So then he gets entered into the drug program, which means he can be randomly selected to piss at any point in time.
And then that's like 4 games to start, right?
Right. So
that's a season.
Like when you're in the program, like they can test you regularly. Whereas if you're not in the program, you get tested once a year during training camp. Okay, so you have a small window in which you can't smoke, but once you do smoke, you get put into the program. And all he was doing was trying to clean his piss, and he cleaned his piss with the wrong stuff, or the amount that he had was too strong. But look, he wasn't taking roids. He wasn't trying to get a competitive advantage. He was trying to smoke weed and not lose money and lose games. And he took the wrong thing. That's what happened. And I got that very closely sourced from somebody with ties to the NBA and the NFL that this is what regularly happens. When you see these people like DeAndre Ayton popping positive for performance enhancing, it was to cover the weed in his piss.
Right. And I mean, I would say even for you guys, similarly, in a weird way, at least in
Well,
college.
we don't talk about where I work at and who I work for on this podcast.
Well, people that I know that are in
Yeah,
our chat, they have a certain employer where I know that at one point they would get tested, but they knew when that test was going to come. Now, granted, the difference is in that program, if you fail one there, you're done.
you're done. Done go.
there is no program or second chance, and so, you know, but I would imagine, yeah, that it has to be similarly done with those guys, and how that works. But yeah, no, it didn't surprise me. I didn't think that he was juicing. Like, you know,
No.
baseball is like the only sport where guys are just they would be juicing.
But the thing about this whole thing is, dog, if you pop positive at the combine, you drop down my draft board not because you smoke weed, is but because you know you're having a drug test in this window of days because you're only there for a few days and you don't have the self control to prepare yourself for a known drug test, right? It's like driving through a checkpoint that you know is going to be there every single day, right? And you
Right.
get hammered and drive through the checkpoint, or go to go visit your friend in jail with weed in your pocket, you know, in a state that's not weed legal, you know. Certain things you just don't do. And for me, I just question your judgment. And you know, they talk about with the draft, you have players who are phone on players and phone off players, and you want to have as many phone off players as possible. So when you go to sleep at night, you can turn your phone off.
Right.
And not that I think DeAndre Hopkins is one of those guys. Um, Obviously, him and Bill O'Brien had some personality conflicts about stuff that DeAndre Hopkins was doing. But I mean, Bill O'Brien hasn't been hired, so who do we trust here? But yeah, man, he wasn't using drugs. Uh, can we talk about homeless Baker real quick?
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how Baker is. You know, look, he really shouldn't be that upset because somebody will get once he's released because nobody's trading for him now. We know that unless because Pittsburgh's out of it.
Well, maybe, just
Seattle
maybe.
is literally his only option unless somebody gets hurt.
What if Haslam knows that Deshaun Watson's going to get suspended and it hasn't came out yet?
But they already got Brissett.
True.
And,
You know,
and Baker is going to refuse. He's going to refuse.
so here's the thing. Here's where was that the 2018 draft, right? Here's where the 2018 draft. Here's what a 2022 draft learned from the 2018 draft. Baker had a third round grade until the Senior Bowl,
Right.
which means he's a third round player. He's performed at a third round quarterback level. He gave you some decent starts. You know, if you drafted him in the third round and you move off of him, you're not mad at the draft pick. But when you draft him first overall because you reach, and then he does this, and you took his fifth year option, even though you probably shouldn't have. You probably just should have like negotiated a contract at the end of the year because he had one good year out of four. Like, why the well, one year good year out of three at that point? Like, why the hell would I pay you now? You know, and 2022 learned from the 2018 draft, but I also think we're seeing these coaches, these GMs, not taking these fifth year options because if Daniel Jones has a great season, he'll get a contract.
Yeah, but what kind? I mean, a guy like him.
3 year, 55, 60 mil. I think 3 year, 60 mil fully
Put him
guaranteed.
inside of that Jameis Winston thing because Jameis's deal it escalates to where he could make 20 a year on his 2-year deal, but I think he's going to get like 14 or 15 or something like that. And of course, for him, it's all about start. Obviously, he's proven that he can be a star in the league. He just was turnover prone. He got off to maybe statistically he wasn't blowing anyone away, but his team was winning, and they weren't winning once he left. So.
They beat us.
But that'll be, there are a couple of positions where everybody will be looking at. Maybe a guy like Baker could go to. I think that Baker will have a market to where somebody is willing to bring him in for competition purposes.
But nobody wants to pay him $18 million this year because he's not worth $18 million on
the thing, if he's cut, the Browns are still on the hook for it.
And with the Browns,
and then the team that negotiates the deal will just give him a 1-year, $1 million contract, and the Browns will still be liable to pay him the $17 million.
Which is why the Browns are going to hold him through training camp before they cut him, because they're going to wait for somebody's quarterback to get hurt, so then they have to feel the need to come get Baker. Here's the thing.
To me, that drives down. I mean, obviously, somebody probably will get hurt. It just always happens. Or we know that now COVID's not going to be a thing to where a guy could get COVID and, it's the week before the season starts and you're like, oh, my God, we're trying out fucking Scott Tolzien. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want that, and the crazy part is, too, Carolina still isn't really out of it yet. I mean, Sam Darnold sucks. And so I would take Baker Mayfield over Sam Darnold.
But they picked up Sam's 5th-year option. Would you want to be paying almost $40 million for your quarterback room for Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold?
It's for 1 year. They're both on that 5th-year. So at that point, you can decide. You get it. You can see who's better. Sam obviously has got the head start because he was on the team last year. He knows the offense.
It's probably not a head start. It's probably, he's probably, being held back because he was on the team last year. He got replaced by Cam Newton, remember?
Yeah, and I'm surprised they didn't let PJ get a little bit more tread. I mean, he wasn't that bad. I didn't think he was that. I get it. I know he was in the AAFL or AAF or whatever that shit was called. It was good for Cam to come back because they got asses in seats. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's so good.
And I think they beat the Cardinals when that first game where he came in as the backup and, scored, and he did the I'm back.
Bro, you talk about biggest flukes ever. Hey, I'm not going to lie to you. Running low on battery and can't find a good spot to punt and charge from.
Well,
so I got 24%. We got some time.
All right, let's do it. Let's go run through it.
So you want to go through NBA playoffs real quick?
Yeah, let's run it.
Let's go NBA playoffs, okay? So we got through the first round. We didn't talk too much about the first round, but into the second round,
we both went perfect on the first round too, except I think I might have taken Utah, which was the biggest mistake in my life.
I think I took the Nets because I got.
You know what?
We took the Nets. We got it.
We both had them going.
But after game 2, we were off the Nets. But
it was apparent that they were figured out. Let me continue to try this ISO ball, and they'll beat themselves.
Steve Nash is bad at coaching. Like, he didn't change his offense, and it takes me to last night's game. I was watching Golden State versus Memphis. Ja went crazy, and Pat Bev let it be known he did not score 47 on them. But he put them out the playoffs.
Right.
But
because he didn't need to.
But if you watch Memphis's offense, it is very much high pick and roll, Ja / drive, kick, drive, score, bet, shoot, bang. And you go, that works because Ja is so good. I think he is the second coming of Iverson, but better. I really think he's better.
It's certainly much more elusive.
Yeah, and here's where I'll say he's better. I listened to Draymond Green talk about, like, the smart playmakers. He talked about LeBron. He talked about Rondo. He was like, Ja got that in him. This was like the beginning of the year. He was like, He's not where LeBron and Rondo is yet because he just hasn't played enough games. But the way he thinks the game, the way he plays, his feel is that of a cerebral LeBron and Rondo, and he's not going to get credit for that yet because of his athleticism and how flashy he is. But hearing that from Draymond and then watching some of the stuff that he was doing and how he was controlling pace, push when he should push, get to the basket when he should, take the three because he was feeling it. The way he dropped Jordan Poole yesterday,
that shit was nasty.
It didn't get enough attention. And I've seen it like circulating today, but like in the moment I watched it, I was like, bro, this Jalen Brown thing I saw where he just pushed him off and crossed and did the MJ snatchback. Like, nah, Ja got in his bag, half spin, and like Buddy's knee was sore this morning. The way he fell, like he's sore from that fall. But I think Ja's really set himself up to be like really the next face of the league. And I don't want to sound like one of these hot take artists, but he's likable. You got his dad. Like his dad is what LeVar Ball could be if LeVar would have waited till his son was really popping to start talking crazy. You know what I mean? Because the people didn't like LeVar because he came in too early. But you grew up around hoop. I grew up around hoop. That's like every five basketball players' daddy.
Right.
Like LeVar wasn't nothing new to me. I was like, hey, bro, shut up. Like, your kids ain't.
That is typical AAU banter.
Yes.
It's typical. And high school.
Yeah. Like, if your son's good, that's how the dads usually act.
Yeah, and if they're not the coach.
And they're usually the coach.
Exactly. So.
But you got Ja doing this, and then, I'll tell you, we'll get back to the playoffs, but these soft fouls, and the fouls aren't soft, but they're soft ejections, right? What Draymond did, that wasn't an ejection. He reached for the jersey. He realized
give him flagrant one.
Give him flagrant one. He realized
just
what he did.
He already went for the ball, and it seemed like he was doing that more to catch him.
Yes, exactly. Right. But the thing is, you're a basketball player, and if you foul somebody dirty on accident, you try to catch them because you don't want all that extra.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. Like,
right, let me try to catch you, but it looks weird, especially when you slow it down. And the same thing.
Draymond has a history of these fouls that have looked weird.
And the Dylan Brooks play, it looks bad because of the result, but it really looked like he made a bad block attempt. Like he was there late. Gary Payton, he was leaning on Gary to try to go up for the block. Gary did something a little quicker than he thought he was doing. He got the ball up, and so it looked like he wasn't making a play on the ball, but it very much looked like a play on the ball. And even if it wasn't, it was the get back for the Draymond play. So I'm okay with that.
It's like, the NBA. Let's just play. Like, this is what basketball is about.
Yeah.
This is a part of it. It's a part of the game, and they've tried to phase that stuff out, the more and more, and then it even gets into what Dame Lillard had reposted too, the entertainment value. Basketball has changed so much over the years. And who was it? I think you're the one that put it in our group earlier, but Cat, right? You had Cat doing his interview a different way from the way he's like talking. Oh. Sound's gone.
You're good. I'm getting headphones.
Oh, go for it. Looks like you're almost in a library or something.
No,
I know what you said it was, but
I'm back in my bum ass room. Just keep going.
But no, and just in general, the league has just gotten super soft, man. It's crazy too because now, of course, they did away with guys like Harden. Like I'm watching now, they got Harden out here. You know how Harden loves getting that foul. Trey Connor was doing it too. These pump fake. I'm trying to get fouled and get to the line 3-point shots and stuff like that.
I think the leagues are still searching for the best sporting event and TV show at the same time, and it's impossible to get it right.
Yeah, and they never will. And the thing is that it takes away from basketball, especially betting purposes. It really, really takes away from the game.
Because as a basketball player, there are certain things that you would do in a game that's not pretty, but it works. Draymond is not good for the TV product. I don't know anybody who hoops who wouldn't want Draymond on their team.
Right.
Like Draymond does the stuff that can get somebody cut from a middle school team because the coach doesn't have the foresight to see somebody who does things that don't pop up on the stat sheet.
On stat sheet, yeah.
Like I remember like I've played some games with people, and bro, if I'm playing with like some scores, I play like Draymond. I'm gonna play defense. I'm gonna hustle. I'm gonna foul people if I have to.
And unfortunately, in a pickup game, you can't take a charge.
Right.
There's really no charging in pickup games. What is somebody gonna say? So, oh man, that was a fucking foul. Like nobody's doing that. And so, but yes, these utility guy, lunch pail guys type mentality on a basketball court, kind of the equivalent of an offensive lineman in the NFL.
And man, how beneficial is it
how important the offensive line truly is to a team's success?
Bro, it's like the most important thing. Like, and just think about the person, not even a person who would take the charge, but the person who knows how to get the hard foul and not get caught. And that stops this one guy from blowing by you that you can't stay in front of. No. Or the trash talker who knows that they're playing against a hothead and you can get in their head.
Completely out of the game.
Yeah. Like, you can't put that on paper, and it's not a great TV product. But if you're at the game and you're in that environment and you see it, like, you remember being at that Hawks Sixers playoff game, even though we lost it, the way Ben Simmons was taken out of that game by the crowd, by the players, like the way that I became a huge Trae Young fan. Just because I saw how he controls a game and he controls an arena. You go, oh, he different. Like, he don't control the arena like Bron and KD now. But he knows what he's doing. He's not just shooting. Like when Trae shoots those bad threes, he understands that when he makes them, what it does to the arena, what it does to the dude across from him.
Home and away, because at home, the crowd's going to just go fucking nuts. Yeah. Away at MSG, it really just takes the life out of those people. Like, because it's just like and then if he does it a second time, they're really out of it. Like, then like you said, the player, the guy that's guarding him, he's like, well, what the fuck do you want me to do? Like, then he starts yelling at his teammates. Coach is telling him what to do, and he's just like, I am in front of him. Like, like it'll just be some shit.
Well, like yesterday, I think Ja was like 5 for 11, 5 for 12 for 3. When Ja is 5 for 12 from 3, what do? You can't stay in front of him. He probably can out jump you. And he's that weird. He probably grew up doing a bunch of flips and shit. Because bro, like the way like you can push him.
It's an athletic motherfucker, man.
Yeah. Like he just one of them super athletes to where like you stronger than him, you bigger than him, but like you ain't gonna bully him, and he can still body control. I love it. But you know what? You know what else I want to talk about on here?
What?
We need to time mark this. I got a charge. We plugged in now, baby. That's why we moved over here, sitting on the floor. Luka Doncic.
And I'm going to give you a heads up too. So that's why it took me so long. I was looking for my charter. Justice has my computer charter. I'm on 8%, but I'm going to put it on my phone.
Okay.
So once I get to like 3%, I'll probably cue it up.
Okay.
Here. Yeah.
Luka Doncic plays losing basketball. Luka Doncic is a less entertaining version, but a less entertaining European version of James Harden in Houston.
Okay.
High usage rate. Super high usage rate. We'll beat people in a regular season. We'll have great playoff games. We'll have great stats. But when you sit there and you watch the 4 teammates, just watch him dribble, screen, dribble, pass with 4 seconds left on the shot clock. Most basketball players aren't catch and shoot guys because most guys who play at that league had their hands on the ball like through high school, and they get to college. Okay, I'm a catch and shoot guy. Or they get to the league. Oh, I got to be a catch and shoot guy. But a lot of those guys who came to the league and they get to touch the ball, and now they're on Luka's team, so they finally become a catch and shoot guy. It doesn't work that way.
No,
You ain't touched the ball 4 trips down. What I think gets missed is people check out. Like, I've played pickup games with ball hogs and we won. But when I tell you I'm running up and down the court, like I'm not playing defense, I'm not rebounding. Like, hey, bro, I ain't touched the ball. Can I touch the ball, please? You can shoot it. I just want to touch it. I want to see what it feel like. see if I got a good matchup. But people will check out of games, and there's no stat for the way people would check out on Luka in a game. But the niggas be checking out.
Well, and the thing with Luka, and like kind of like what we said, why Dallas got so much success. Let's start with the first thing when it comes to Dallas. They play great defense.
Yes.
They're a good defensive team. Jason Kidd has instilled that from day one. And I think Rick Carlisle had the same philosophy, obviously.
Yeah, he just got stale.
Yeah, now when he got to Indiana, and then his personnel too. Boy, but in Indiana, I mean, the Pacers might be one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA this year.
He can't help it.
Fucking bad. They literally were giving up 125 a game. But nonetheless, the identity of the team is to play the style of ball of a European team, which they try to tailor make it to Luka. And you start looking at the guys that they have: Kleba, Finney Smith. What are these? These guys are basically guys you count on to get their points from having wide open threes, from what the attention that Luka's going to attract.
The only buckets you got on that team are Dinwiddie and Tim Hardaway Jr., but Tim Hardaway Jr. is out, so there's no buckets on that team. Like, imagine what your boy Colin would do having to play alongside Luka. That nigga would be miserable.
But you know what's so crazy? Because even with that, there's a lot of stuff rumbling about that. Somebody said something about him going to Dallas, but
if kids starts them both, pulls Colin early, and then staggers them throughout the game, it works.
Well, and then you have to throw in that factor of Luka Doncic clearly has a low-key and injury history already in his career because his history is so high.
And he shows up out of shape and don't take care of his body.
That white boy can ball, man.
I didn't say he can't ball. I would never call Luka sorry. I'll just say he plays losing basketball. Like, until he changes his game.
But wait, isn't he the greatest playoff basketball player of all time, according to, who is it, Nick Wright?
Yeah, Nick Wright. I didn't even listen to that. I didn't listen to it to know if he said that he is or if that was just a headline of him making an argument that he is, because he said that before Luka Doncic played a second round playoff game. And I'm like, bro, miss me. Like, yes, he has big numbers, but he had big numbers and he ran into Kawhi and lost on Kawhi teams that were a disappointment. You know, it's not like he got put out in the first round by the champions. He got put out in the first round by a team that finally made it to the conference finals last year for the first time
in team history.
And CP3 had his way with him because, see, now CP3, he plays winning basketball. He just hasn't won a ring. But he plays winning fucking basketball.
Yeah, no, and that's absolutely true. And I just think that what it is with Dallas, and that, like you said, losing basketball, it's hard to see what type of player you could add to Luka because of the way he does play. And I think that there will be plenty of guys that would want to play with him, but what type of guy can you really add to the way that he plays? It's
Maxi Kleber,
but I'm talking about seriously
Grayson Allen,
star, and I'm talking a legit too. You know,
Chris Middleton type, maybe Klay Thompson.
Chris got to get a little bit more touches, because who gets the second most touches on Dallas? Would you say Jalen Brunson?
Yeah,
certainly in the playoffs now.
But even with Brunson, like, Brunson is usually playing with the second team. They're staggered, like.
But he does start, and so
who played well with James Harden in Houston?
Chris Paul.
Yeah, and they weren't happy. And again, they played two different offenses, right? They played the Chris Paul offense when James Harden was on the bench, and they played the James Harden offense when Chris Paul was in the game. But the difference between Chris Paul and damn near everybody else, Chris Paul can actually catch and shoot his ass off.
He can shoot.
So,
and he's good from 3 and mid range. He's really a fucking assassin in the mid range.
Oh my god, yeah. He
might be the best pull up point guard from mid range in the league today, even at 37.
The only person who's mid range, and I'm not even talking about position, right? I'm just thinking in general, mid range who can rock with him. KD and possibly his teammate. And this is not me looking at, and this ain't me looking at numbers. This in DeRozan. This is
the eye test. What we know,
just eye test.
Seeing guys that are really good
and DeRozan
shooting up there on the elbows of the key. You know what I mean? Like guys that they can create a little bit of space and get that.
Yeah.
Not corner or top of the key, but the in between area, like guys that make a living doing that shit.
When you see Chris Paul shoot from the elbow, do you ever think he's missing?
No. Even with the hand in his face, I don't.
He's 37. He's 6'5", 180. He ain't supposed to be doing what he's doing.
No. And it's kind of crazy. He's literally gotten better with time. I would say that really his last 2 years have been almost as impressive as his best 2 years in New Orleans and his best 2 years
the Clippers.
With the Clippers, yeah.
Well, yeah,
I would actually say that they're very comparable. And then let's not even forget about the good year. He had a fan-fucking-tastic year with the Thunder. The Thunder should not have been in the playoffs. Fuck the whole bubble.
No.
I don't give a fuck about that.
They were like a 5 seed
in the playoffs with that team.
They were like a 4 or 5 seed, so they had a good season.
They did.
Because
they lost to Houston in the first round in 7
with Russ.
And it came down, if you remember, that game came down to the very end
with Russ and James Harden, and he was playing with. And
I think they still had Capella too.
No.
No, they might have just had traded Capella but Capella didn't play with us.
No,
that year he was out like the whole year.
He had SGA. We're talking about the Student Government Association. You know what I'm saying? And DS-17. The mixtape, the Future ain't even dropped yet.
Right.
But
because they were running that 3-guard set because Schroeder was probably finished second for 6th man of the year that year.
Yeah, he got beat by Trez.
Yeah. Which, boy, talk about how the mighty fall.
Well, Trez was okay at LA Fitness the other day. I saw it on Instagram.
Oh, you mean like how Ben Simmons makes every fucking shot he takes when he's in the gym?
Did you see the post I sent to the group about Ben Simmons?
No. You just sent it?
Just sent it. Ben Simmons is expected to need 3 to 4 months to make full recovery on back surgery. Sources tell ESPN the expectation is that his
mental be healed in 3 to 4 months.
He's about to get paid because he's having surgery.
I bet this motherfucker is gonna get traded, bro. And the thing would be the Nets probably don't want to do that just because what would be the return? It won't be James Harden, right? They're not gonna be able to recoup. You can put Ben Simmons with a guy like Luka.
Yeah, I mean you could.
Would it not work? I'm just saying he's the type of player that probably, when healthy, could play with Luka.
He could, especially.
I'm about to switch, by the way.
Okay, bet. So yeah, Luka's expanded his range, so I could definitely see Luka and Ben Simmons working in a great high pick and roll type offense. And then again, the thing you have to do with the Luka team is you have to run a separate offense when Luka's off the court. So then you can allow Ben Simmons to get into his little point guard Ben Simmons bag, and then you can pair him with Dinwiddie because again, if you have Dinwiddie and Ben on the court together, you got some different pick and roll options there. And I like the idea of it. I think it'll make a lot of sense, but does Clutch want to go hitch their wagons in Dallas?
No, they don't. And then at the end of the day, too, one of the bigger issues with that.
You've been in the
is
gym,
that,
huh? You've been going to the gym regularly, haven't you?
I have.
Yeah, nigga, you losing weight.
Hey, I appreciate it. But I really need a haircut. That's what I need more than anything. But nonetheless, they don't. And you want to know why? It's because Dallas doesn't even have the pieces to trade. That team has severely overachieved.
Sign and trade Brunson and throw in Dinwiddie's contract as filler and give me like Maxi Kleber. But
then
I don't want Maxi Kleber. I really want if you're going to Brooklyn, you're gonna throw
might have the 3-team
and give me Hardaway and sign and trade Brunson because Brunson's gonna get a max.
Somebody's gonna pay him.
Brunson's getting a max.
You know what team in a weird way would be a great fit for him?
Who?
And I know they kind of, the way they run it, I mean, because they've been starting Marcus Smart. Imagine him on the Celtics.
He's a Celtics player. Marcus
Brunson,
Smart.
Imagine Brunson on the Celtics running the point.
Brunson should be,
because he can play off ball too. So like
Marcus Smart should be their backup point guard. Or they're two when they go in their small lineup and they put Tatum at the 4 and Rob Williams at the 5. I don't even know if that's your small lineup. Yeah, because Al Horford's not on the court.
Right.
So that post about Tyler Hero saying he was putting himself in that Trey, Luka, and Book conversation, it reappeared as he got his 6th Man of the Year award, and I go, he's not in that conversation. All of them niggas are all NBA. He's 6th Man of the Year.
Right.
And I got into a brief back and forth with somebody who was like, politics. That's why he's not. And I'm like, no, it's not politics. He's not a centerpiece. He is a Jamal Crawford, a Lou Williams, a spark plug off the bench that you don't want to build your team around, but you definitely want him on your team and you want him playing in crunch time. Hero is their best pure scorer on the Heat. But
here's the thing. You wouldn't have a problem with him taking the game winner. You still want Jimmy to probably take that shot.
You want Jimmy to decide whether or not he gets to take that shot. I don't want Tyler making the decision because I know Tyler is pulling up even if Bam is wide open underneath the basket.
Right.
And we're down 1.
Yeah.
Even if we're down 2, we got Bam wide open. We want the dunk to go to overtime, not you shoot this damn 3, Tyler Hero.
Yeah. And I just think that a team like Miami, it sets up well for him. Like right now, the game is on, and they've got Butler, Hero, Vic, Gabe Vincent, and PJ Tucker on the floor.
Oh, you said I'm in the game right now?
Yeah, you're in the game right now. And the thing is that Miami has set their roster up so well to where a guy like Tyler Hero can kind of thrive in almost any lineup because you can run him as obviously he can. In this set, I'm going to assume he might be running. Him or Jimmy's probably running point. I don't even think Gabe Vincent would be the one handling point, even though Gabe's the shortest person on the floor.
Jimmy's running point. You know that.
Yeah, he is. He's bringing it up now. But think about it. But Jimmy's basically playing the 4 on the other side of the floor. But now, granted, matchup-wise, they could have this lineup because there's no Embiid.
Well, that's why Jimmy gets left. When Jimmy's bad, he gets left out of the conversation, and when he's great, he's put in the top 7 where he should be like in the 12 to 15.
Yeah,
because I know that Jason Tatum's probably going to be first team All NBA, and he's having a great playoffs, and his ceiling is higher than Jimmy's. But
because Jimmy, we know what Jimmy is. Tatum can still, like, to me, Jason Tatum can be. You want to know honestly who offensively, like, kind of, and defense, like his game really reminds me the most of?
Tell me.
Kind of Kobe.
So, I figured you were going there.
That really is who it. Like when I just really look at it, I'm like,
that's who he looks up to.
Me of Kobe.
That's who he looked up to. That's who he worked out with. I think that he is a less efficient Kevin Durant. And here's where and I say less efficient Kevin Durant because he's like Kevin Durant mixed with Kobe. Okay, we lost you because you're on your phone being
Okay, now
objective.
I wasn't sure how that worked. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So I say he's a Kevin Durant but less efficient. Kobe Kevin Durant mixture, right? Because he's 6'8", 6'9". He can play 2 through 4, handle the ball, he can initiate the offense, he can get your buckets. Mid-range game is nice, footwork's amazing. The Kobe side of him is he will take bad shots. And bad shots don't deter him from being great. But he's not a Kobe level defender, but he's a sneaky KD defender that is a good defender that will not get the credit he deserves for being the type of defender that he actually is.
I agree with that take. I mean, that's a great take on kind of how Tatum is just as a player. He's, offensively, I just feel like his game is on a level to where he's the type of guy that can take over a game like a Kobe.
Yes.
And, even you can say, because look, Kobe didn't always do it by himself, right? And I'm talking even the post-Shaq team.
Well, no, Kobe never did it by himself. He always had help.
All right. Well, look, I think a lot of people would disagree with that, but nonetheless,
a lot of people are wrong often.
Well, that's true. A lot of people are wrong. I don't think in that case, but I just think that Tatum, his game mirrors it from that perspective. I think that he has that takeover ability that Kobe brought. And now, granted, this is the one thing I don't see from Tatum, but he could develop it. He doesn't have the dog like Kobe. Like there's like 4 guys that have that trait.
I think it's undersold because I think he's more quiet about it. But the way he was approaching Brooklyn and the way he was treating them, he was looking at KD similar to how Ja's looking at Steph, where Steph's more accomplished, Ja hasn't been in less longer. Like, bro, we peers. And I'm moving in one direction, and you're moving in the opposite direction.
Well, and I look at it this way too, and I guess this is kind of the plus side of having it on your phone. I mean, look at this. They're already putting this motherfucker on chips, right? Now, it's like him, literally, for ruffles, they're doing these combinations. LeBron's got the sour cream and flaming hot.
Tatum's not giving us the personality that we need for what he's doing. Ja,
he's quiet. Ja is giving it.
Well, I saw somebody was saying, Kuz said they about to get Ja a sneaker, and they don't even like to give out sneakers. No, Kuz, you're not good, so you don't get sneakers. What? Paul George has a sneaker, okay?
And they're actually decent. The PlayStation ones are really tough.
And they're a good basketball shoe. Like, even if you don't like how they look, I've played in a few pair of PGs. Like, I like PGs for playing in. Ja's next for the sneakers, man. Sorry, Cat. You don't want big cats, big cat ones.
Don't know why I want them ugly ass shoes because they're gonna be ugly as fuck if they gave him one.
It gotta be ugly because this game ugly. Cat is he is one of the most talented people that I've never wanted to watch in my life. Like, I've never sat down and said, "Hey, bro, let's watch Cat Towns play."
It's like, hey, bro, the Timberwolves playing tonight.
Ant-Man in?
Nah, he out.
Like, no. Not if he playing tonight. Like, if he in, it's like Ant-Man on the court.
What?
No. Text me when Ant-Man come in the game. Ant-Man gets some Adidas in 2 years.
Oh, easy. And he has the personality too.
Well, yeah, Ant-Man has the personality.
And he kind of, for me, he's shown flashes of that dog.
He has it in him. He's got to refine his game now. You know what I mean? Like, his game's just not as clean as the guys we've seen who flashed that dog. But his game is accelerating faster than we expected. Because look at B.I. B.I. has turned into what I thought he would be. It just took him time to grow into his grown man body and be around the right teammates.
Having C.J. McCollum to me is huge for him.
You can't expect anybody to develop playing for the Los Angeles Lakers because that's one of the most poorly ran franchises in NBA history. But they're LA and people are going to come there. So it covers up those warts, right? They don't develop anymore. And so you look at, like, I was thinking about this, right? Here's the hill that I'm so happy I planted my flag on. Ja over Zion. Brandon Ingram over Ben Simmons. You can throw Jaylen Brown in that conversation too. He was in that draft. We just forget about it. And
he was such a relatively unknown when he got drafted.
Right. And Tatum over Markelle Fultz. I said that pre-draft. Tatum over
who?
Over Fultz. I said Tatum should have went 1 before that draft. I'm like, he's a 6'8" wing scorer. Why would I invest in a 6'5"?
Well, think about Boston's the one that made that trade.
Because
Danny Ainge literally said, we got the guy that we were going to take at 1.
Yeah, because they got an extra asset, and Magic Johnson is an idiot, but he decides he wants to go on Twitter and tell everybody how to run a franchise when, hey, Magic, you ran one and you sucked.
You didn't even finish the season.
Like, you got LeBron because LeBron wanted to come to LA and start the second phase of his life and set Bronny and Bryce up to be playing the best high school basketball possible. You got lucky. But
that and then the glamour of being a Laker.
Right. Jokic is the most overrated back-to-back MVP ever. More overrated than Steve Nash. Everybody's talking about Jamal Murray. If he had Jamal Murray.
Did they officially give him the award?
Not yet, because they can't give it to him, because it should have went to Giannis or Embiid. But you know what? It's okay. Because Jamal Murray, the guy who has a career average of 18 points per game, never sniffed an All-Star game or All-NBA, is gonna turn the team around. You're talking about CJ McCollum with a great big man next to him. That's all he is. That's Jamal Murray.
Hear me out. This is what I want to see happen. I want to see one way, and obviously Denver's not going to trade Jokic. I want to see Denver go out and get Dame Lillard to play with Jokic in Denver.
I want to see Dame Lillard play next to another All-NBA player.
Jokic.
I don't want that for Jokic. I root against Jokic because the media roots for him, so I root against him. So
but think about it.
I root for Dame. We're not talking about basketball fits right now. We're talking about what I like, my personal preference. Okay, if Bill Simmons can do it, so can I.
And nobody's telling you that you can't. This is your program, and you have every right. But I'm just saying, basketball fit wise,
okay,
trade wise, because let's assume that Dame would not be able to go to a team and be a part of a big three. So he's got to go to be a duo. And he would have to play with somebody that's just already the only star on their team.
Sign and trade for Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, because Portland will take that. Portland's going to want AD. And then obviously, I mean, they'd have to figure out something with Russ. But I could see him playing there, you know.
Bill Orm wrote an article in The Athletic on why the Lakers should keep Russell Westbrook. I cancel my Athletic subscription, but it has my attention.
What would you think? And I'm spitballing and just kind of creating a hypothetical.
Okay.
Dame's from Oakland, right?
Okay.
Would you make a deal if this offseason Portland said, give us Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson and you got them?
I would make that.
And put Dame with Steph and you still keep Draymond.
What are we doing with James Wiseman?
And I'll tell you what. And then they can even say, give us a first-round pick in Wiseman, and we'll give you Nurkic too.
I run it. I re-sign Wiggs. I gotta find
because you can keep Wiggins too, because you're giving up Poole.
Right. I need to find me somebody, another lanky guard, because we still got Gary Payton. I need me a wing to play some more defense. You know, maybe I know they won't do it because nobody wants to have two small guards that can't play defense. But Klay can't play defense. Instinctually he can, but physically he can't. Like the play he made on Giant Game 1, great defensive instincts. damn near everything else he does is, damn, Klay, you guarded LeBron and Kyrie in the same series. Them niggas would love to see you right now.
Yeah, well, hey man, that's what he's got the commercial out. How many days was it? 790 days.
Yeah, he had the John Wall. Hey, guess what? You want to hear something?
What?
John Wall is better at basketball than Klay Thompson.
That's a super hot take. Well, really, with a hot take, but it's really a freezing cold take.
No, and here's why I say that. All Klay Thompson can do is catch and shoot on the offensive end, right?
And that's what's needed in the NBA.
But Klay Thompson has never played. Klay Thompson has not had significant playing time without Steph Curry and Draymond Green on the court.
That is true.
Name John Wall's,
really seen it.
Name John Wall's best teammate. John Wall.
Bradley Beal.
Who?
Bradley Beal.
You said Mike Jones?
Bradley Beal.
A nigga who disappeared into the abyss, okay?
Hey.
Brad is a good scorer. Brad's a good 6'3" scorer. You know what I mean? Like, he's not the complimentary piece that John Wall.
You know, I didn't realize he was that short.
I thought he was 6'5" too until one of my partners was like, nah, he's 6'3". I'm like, no. And I looked it up. Brad Bill's 6'3". Like, Brad Bill's a little nigga. Like, not little, but
because I thought Brad Beal was more Ray Allen-ish.
I thought he was more Book than what he is, because Book is 6'5".
Yeah,
Book got dark skin nigga tendencies.
And he's such a great fit with CP3.
I know, I love it.
It really is. They're the best backcourt in the NBA.
But hey, here's why I make that hot John Wall take, right? Book went from good young guy to, oh yeah, he's all NBA. Duh, like, why would he not be all NBA? The only difference is CP3. Did Book's game grow a little bit? Yes, it's a natural progression. But Book has not become markedly better as a basketball player. He just has a better team around him. So he's winning more. Right. And he's shooting less because he has better players to give the ball to. And it's like, no, Book has been this, which is why I say, like, again, don't get me wrong, Klay Thompson, great NBA player. He has the resume to get him on NBA 75, right? But I take it to Bill Simmons didn't put Jalen Green on his all-rookie team because he said he didn't play winning basketball. And it's like, well, he's on a losing team with bad players. He's here to learn and develop. He said he would put Herb Jones over him. I'm like, well, Herb Jones is in a better situation and is a role player. So Herb Jones
was still a losing basketball team too. If CJ McCollum, if that trade never happened, the Pelicans wouldn't have been in the playoff.
Exactly. But like, you can't judge rookies off of wins and losses, right? Like, Evan Mobley was his rookie of the year. No. He had Evan Mobley and Scotty Barnes as 1 and 2. But I'm like, they went to good teams.
They did. The Raptors got lucky to get the 4th pick to get Scotty Barnes.
Like,
they were already still that team was talented. They were just injured last year.
Injured and COVID and weird shit.
Huh?
They had the injuries and the COVID shit because.
Yeah, and then Toronto, they didn't play at home.
They played in Orlando.
Weird year for them.
And bro,
they're playing at Tampa.
To my eye, Cade was the best rookie.
Right, and I was just about to ask that question. So did he not have Cade on his first team?
I think he put Cade on his first team, but he valued winning. And I'm just like, bro, like Bill Simmons is losing his fastball, by the way. He's losing his fastball.
He used to be so great. His columns were he's like him. He's like Grantland.
Bill's content creation was great before the viral moment. Now Bill gets viral moments and says, don't aggregate me. But when you say, like, jokingly, fuck Jalen Green, and he didn't play winning basketball, you got Ryan Hollins, who's actually really good. He's getting better. He's so much better. Gil had him on, and Gil broke it down. He's like, you're talking about rookies, bro. Like, he's on a bad team. Nobody wins on bad teams. He was like, did he get better from game 1 to game 82? That's what you have to look at. Like, how did this game change?
Did rookie Jordan make the playoffs? I don't know. I'm trying to think because I think.
Are you
that it got
serious?
brought
No,
up.
he didn't. He didn't. He made the playoffs. I want to say in year 2 or 3.
I know he went year 2 because they got swept by Boston, but
When
he
he
had
went-
like 63-point game.
I know he went to the playoffs with a below 500 record, and you know what? We got Basketball Reference, and that's the thing that like pisses me off. Right? Is that you're trying to put two things together. You know, the Lakers missed the playoffs the first year Brian got there, and they won a ring the second year, and they got put out the first round his third year, and they missed the playoffs his fourth year. But were the Lakers ever healthy in year 1, year 3, and year 4? No.
No, the
And
healthiest year they had was the COVID year.
exactly. And you can't sit here and tell me that, Bron's not all NBA this year because he didn't go to the playoffs. Well, AD was hurt. Like somebody who we thought was a top 15 player in the league, who's still a top 25 player in the league in a down year.
And Russell Westbrook didn't gel, and at the same time, still took a step back as well.
And he's just not good.
That's what I'm saying.
He doesn't play winning basketball. I'm gonna say he's not good. He doesn't play winning basketball. So let's see. The 84-85 Bulls. No, I don't care about the fucking game log.
I know he won Rookie of the Year that year.
Well, because he's Michael Jordan. What choice did they have?
I mean, Hakeem Olajuwon.
He's Michael Jordan. What what choice did they have? Like, you know, he's a golden child. I just wish I could find. It's so hard to find wins on NBA reference, but I guess I could just look up the
84-85 Bulls regular or 84-85 NBA playoff.
Now I'm gonna do the Chicago Bulls. You know what I've realized though? Sometimes like I be tripping or worried about like the dead air, and it don't be that bad because I listen to other podcasts when they be looking stuff up, and they be like a full 3 seconds. So they were 38-44 his rookie year. Let's see, year number 2, 30-52.
Yeah, but they made the playoffs in year 2.
Right, these niggas was 30-52. 30-52.
I mean, I think it's 30 he broke his leg, right?
No, I think this was the year they made the playoffs. They were 40-42. 40-42.
So he missed out his first 2 years.
And then year 4, he was finally 50-32. But
then he broke his leg the year after that. Because one of those years he like broke his leg.
It was.
And they might have still made the playoff. I don't know.
It was 85. It was 85. It was 85-86 because that's when he played against the 86 Celtics.
Okay.
I'm more than confident. But the thing about that is Michael Jordan gets all these passes because we can see the way his career ended that we're not giving young players now, and it's sick. And like people forget how Kobe's career started, whether it was fair or not. Kobe started coming off the bench, not getting minutes. In an All-Star game, he didn't.
By the way, I'm not leaving. I can still hear you.
You're good. But we tend to forget these things, and you can't judge young players in state against someone else's while they're still at their starting point. I think it's bad media. I think it's bad journalism. I think it's just a ratings grab. I was scrolling through the timeline today, and Stephen A. is talking about the Lakers should trade LeBron James. Why is that a topic?
That isn't that hot of a take.
No. I don't care about the take. Why does the topic exist in the middle of the NBA playoffs that LeBron's not in?
That's a good question.
That's the problem.
James.
It's just like, hey, and this goes back to Bill Simmons losing his fastball. Make your content worth the clicks. Don't build the content around the clicks. Build the fucking content and make it get the clicks. At some point, people deserve like real information. Not will LeBron James be traded? No, the Lakers shouldn't trade LeBron James because they don't know how to build a team and properly develop talent. That's a conversation for another day. Let me see.
The Lakers, look, there's a lot of problems there, and we all know it.
Yeah,
health being the biggest, right?
Okay.
Health being the biggest. I don't know why he would be being brought up. I mean, look, and I get it. I guess because we're just so used to seeing him in it, and certainly not just seeing him in it, but and you know, that's another thing about LeBron. I'm not going to say he takes that Jordan approach in a weird way, but think about it. Why is LeBron not on with Kenny and Shaq and them one night here to talk about it? Yeah, I get it. He typically has these deep runs, and he doesn't get to spend as much time with his family, maybe, right? But why is it that a guy like LeBron isn't getting on one of these shows? Am I off? Lee.
Is he not what?
I don't know what just happened there.
I went back in the room where the Wi-Fi is terrible and I was using the bathroom.
Ah, okay. But no, I'm just saying, I guess that's a question that you have to ask yourself. Why is it that a guy like LeBron doesn't get on TNT with these guys?
Because he controls his own narrative.
Yeah, but, you know, I feel like D-Wade's got enough cachet with LeBron to get him in on the show.
You know, I do too. I don't. And I just think LeBron wants to control everything that he does, and he thinks he's above it, so he doesn't do it. And who's going to tell him he has to? When have you seen MJ on one of these shows?
You don't. You don't fucking see MJ on one of them.
Like, you don't see MJ talking too often unless it's his narrative. I listened to Adam Silver on Dan Patrick talk about the Last Dance tapes, right?
Right.
Adam Silver was a part of the team that came up with the idea to record that. They had no idea what to do with it because in that time we weren't doing those types of sports documentaries, you know? Like there wasn't really the platform to properly display it. So like they didn't know what this was going to turn into, but they guaranteed, you know, the safety of it in the NBA archives. And then when MJ wanted it, it came out. Like them guys don't got to speak.
Jordan.
Everybody ain't KD.
No, look, and that's true. Or Kyrie for that matter.
Bro, did I send you that the Kyrie on KD's podcast?
No, did they just do it?
So Kyrie was on there with KD's co-host. KD wasn't even on there.
Huh.
Oh yeah, Stephen A. them gonna rip Kyrie probably tomorrow. And he was speak.
I mean, what was he talking?
He talked about Cleveland, Boston, him, the basketball player, his life. It honestly is good. Like you just get perspective. You just get Kyrie's perspective, and it's not like his angry Twitter rant that he went on that I really appreciated. Even though I'm somebody who sits around and talks about other people and I try to monetize it. I'm okay with him having issues with that because for one, that drives up this market, but also he deserves to speak back on what people say about him. And I think he had a valid point talking about how like these networks will find a Stephen A. Smith or even a Shannon Sharp who will come out and speak out against certain behaviors from the Black community, and it gives them credibility to talk about it while they're pushing the narrative that the institution wants pushed that may be to the detriment of Black people.
Right.
Because the way Stephen A's gone after Kyrie all year, it's like, bro, he didn't take money out of your pocket. He doesn't even play for the Knicks, who you're a fan of. Why are you this bothered by his decision?
Stephen A. Here, I'm
Sucks.
about to get right back on camera. I'm just wait. Okay, great. Bet went through. Stephen A. is the type of guy that, I think he really does do a lot of this for. This really is for show.
I do too. Yeah, and that's the problem. He doesn't believe.
I believe that literally when he sees these dudes, he is like so fucking buddy with them to the point of where they almost know that he's just tripping on TV and that it's just his job type shit. But then they kind of might even take it personal because it's just like, bro, you can't be selling it like that.
Well, that's why I respect Charles Barkley, because what he said, he was like, you got to go on TV and say what you believe, because you don't want to lose credibility with the fans and you don't want to lose credibility with the players. He's like, a player can hate me for my criticism of them, but they need to know that is what I believe based on what I saw. And I think that's why Chuck gets to say whatever he wants, and he still has a job, and he's still highly paid, and we don't know how much Chuck gets paid. But I bet Chuck makes almost as much, if not more, than Stephen A. Smith for doing half the work.
I bet he makes almost $8-9 million.
Stephen A. is earning his check. Like, Stephen A. got praised for that big check, but I'm like, look how much he works. He works in the morning. He works at night.
One point, he was doing Sports Center where he was hosting it.
Bro,
the 6 o'clock show. He does the morning. He does the NBA countdown.
He was doing his radio show. I'm like, dog, y'all working him too hard.
Well, what do you think they're about to do to fucking Troy Aikman and Joe Buck? Joe Buck's obviously going to do baseball and football, right? Oh, which actually brings up a good point on them. I wonder, I guess maybe Monday Night Football is when they're going to start doing that, but when do they make the official switch is the real question.
So here's what I don't know, but here's what's going to happen. They did this for the new TV deal, because I bet ESPN is going to try to make a play for another night of football.
They said that Amazon they're fighting to try and get Friday Night Football.
Yeah, NFL's going too far. Friday Night Football, Munich football, like, dog.
I'm not even mad at Munich, and I'll tell you why. Because if you're already doing a game in London, I see nothing wrong. Especially, you got to think about it. They used to have NFL Europe.
Yeah,
teams were like in Germany. There were a couple of them in Germany.
And start it back up and call it the USFL in Europe.
and I'm with you, but don't you think it's pretty cool to have a game out there?
I think it's cool until I want to watch it.
Well, and the people that are really getting butt fucked in that situation are the people on the West Coast. That's who's getting fucked.
The people getting fucked are the players. Hopsecutioner.
How'd you know? Look, you know what's crazy? Because I never have beer.
I know.
I literally bought beer to be a good host now. I have beer and I've got some claws to crush with Connor when Connor and Beth get over here.
Wait till Adam comes over. He's crushing some fucking claws on Friday.
Yeah, a couple claws. We can hit up Dale and talk shit to him and be like, "Look what we got!" Like, it's like I know you want one, and then he's like, "Dude, I already got one."
Here's what I'll do. I'll wear a similar outfit to what I wore in my most recent Instagram picture. I'll do a button-up, long sleeve, some super short shorts.
But you got to roll up the sleeves. But only like 2 rolls.
2 rolls.
It can't get all the way up to your elbow.
3 buttons undone. I'll throw on my I forgot the Nikes that I was wearing. The high top ones that all the fucking white guys wear when they're dirty.
Right.
Yeah, those. I'll put it on long white Nike, like Nike Crew socks, like a total fucking bro.
Well, and then I forgot what they're called, but you have to have the sunglasses, especially if it's daytime. The sunglasses that have like the back piece.
The coasters with the piece. Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, he slays. He fucking slays.
He's like, dude, I just saw this. I saw this dude. He came in here last week on everything. God, like I swear to fucking God, he fucking banged this chick, bro. He like banged her. Like he just went up to her and he just said, "Look, I want to bang you." And like he fucking took her back to the apartment, bro. Guy came out in like 10 minutes. And he slayed. It was fucking crazy.
Bro, stop it though. Here's the thing, dude. We're fucking out, man. Saw this chick. She's super fucking hot. Her name was Maddie. fucking hooked up right there on the dance floor. Start finger banging her, finger banging her real good.
Right.
With fucking consent, obviously. With fucking consent. She let me finger bang her. I took her back.
It's like, dude, she was sticking his hand in his pants. It was clearly consent. She wanted it too. She wanted it more than he did. And then Kyle showed up. Kyle tried to fucking talk to her later on that night. We're just like, dude, he's already hitting.
Like, dude, like, smell this.
Like, right.
Hey, you know something that's funny that I learned from my white friends?
What?
You know how, like, we'll go out, if we catch some rhythm from a girl 9 times out of 10, we're going to finish the night and then, like, detour and go home?
Yeah.
I was taught you don't do that. Like, she's giving you the vibes. You fucking leave right now.
I mean, straight to the point. I think, but you know what? Typically, I feel like at least in our community, if you're out and that even is the case, they typically are going to want to follow you to where you go next.
Right.
I guess it would depend on what time of day it is, like, and what it is. Because if you're in San Diego on PB and you're getting brunch, like Justice, that's what Justice did, correct?
Yeah. He made the right move. But here's the thing: I wouldn't have made that move. I would have been like,
well, he just stayed with them in general.
Right. I would have been like, yeah, you're with us for the rest of the night, or I'm leaving. I'll get up with you later. But when I lived in San Diego, I definitely,
and that might have been a little bit of the difference too. He's the out of town, and they actually did live there. They weren't from out of town. They were natives.
But so, like, when I lived there, I would run into those situations where, like, oh yeah, I'm about to get some ass. And, like, I've seen guys get the ass that I thought I was going to get because I'm like, it's 11:30. I just got to the bar. I paid for Uber.
Right.
I got to get drunker before we, like, go back to your place and my place. And then it's like, yeah, man, she left with Ben.
Well, that. And then it just, you get lost in the shuffle because if you just go over there, you do your game, you get the number or the Instagram, whatever, you like get the contact or whatever, you may not sit there and literally talk to them the entire night. Right? I'm talking just a straight 2 hours. Like straight 2 hour talk.
I'd never do that. I'm going to go talk to some other girls.
You got to talk to other girls, link back up with the boys, fucking go back over. Like, or even worst case to even extend it most of the time, especially if she's not by herself, which they normally never are.
Yeah.
Then you're introducing the boys to the friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's a commingling thing. And then we're all trying to figure out
who wants to.
Are we going back here? Like, where are we going? We need to go as a group, guys. Like, because everybody knows, even if you're not going to bang the chicks, like, everybody knows women attract other women.
Yeah.
They just do. If a nigga walks in with a bunch of bitches, bitches gonna be looking at him and being like, who the fuck is that?
Bro, so I'll tell you a story, right? Like, you're a little vulnerable on here. I've been drinking. So I remember I went out with a group of friends, right? And then, like, sort of started giving me a little bit of play, right? And then, we hanging out through that night. We start face dancing. Then she turns it around a little bit, We start, dancing and stuff,
All right.
Hooking up on the dance floor,
That boy's getting his groove on.
Yeah, Dale style, baby.
Right.
And, so then, like, we end up going back to this Airbnb, and then I'm like, we get there. I go up. This is back when I used to smoke Black and Milds. Go upstairs, bum a cig. I didn't have a Black and Mild on me. I was like, hit the cig, go downstairs. That was cig right there. Yeah,
right.
Sig like that. Yeah, sig. Go downstairs. She's fucking asleep. Whatever.
Really?
Cool. I was cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hopped in the Uber. I went home. Kick it the next weekend. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll run it this weekend. We'll just pick up where we left off. Hanging out with the group. I'll probably head back to the crib. You know what I'm saying? I'll head back to her crib that night, Fam, I wasn't, like, giving her, like, the attention all night. Some other dudes, like, slides in. Meanwhile, I'm sleeping on the couch. He comes downstairs like, hey, bro, you got a condom?
Oh.
Had one. I was
like, nah, dog.
I'm like, nah, bro.
He's like, I'm straight raw dogging.
I was like, nah, bro, I ain't got no condom. Like, I don't get grown ass men condoms.
Right.
That's a you problem. Now I'm sitting there drunk as hell, hating, too drunk to drive home. Cars out front, and I'm like,
Was it? Wait, were you the only? So did she have roommates or like were y'all the only 3 people there?
no. There's some other people who live further away, and they all like crash. But it was still one of them things where it's like
Fuck you, right? Basically,
like I soberly was spending the night there, right? Because that's where I parked my car.
right?
Not expecting a drunken man to be there because I always would spend the night there, and in previous it was always platonic, and like those vibes weren't there for
Right.
me to make that move. But then once the opportunity presented itself, I'm like, dang, yeah, we just a week off. I got it. Never gonna get it now.
Oh yeah. Well,
Which I'm
yeah.
okay
Right.
with.
That shit's been sale.
Yeah. We've left a lot on the table, and we're okay with that, man. But speaking of leaving things on the table, um, there's rumors that
Oh wow.
there's rumors that women aren't gonna have the choice to whether or not to leave the baby. No, I mean they don't have a choice. They're gonna have to leave the baby on the delivering table now. The rumors are coming out that the Supreme Court's gonna roll back Roe v. Wade. Shout out to 50% of women who voted for Donald Trump, who allowed him to appoint 2 um, conservative justices that kind of influenced this. And the conversation now is saying that men should not make laws about women. And I think that is a separate conversation than the rollback of Roe v. Wade, because I think that we are supposed to elect lawmakers who have the best interest of the people and not necessarily do what the people want, but do what's for the best interest of the people. And some people say, well, men shouldn't be saying women can't get abortions. I'm like, bro, I've met women who say women shouldn't get abortions. So it's not just men who think this. There are women who think that. But to outlaw abortions,
I'm about to send you a clip, by the way, but keep going.
okay. To outlaw abortions at the same time, we're trying to outlaw critical race theory. I think we're getting to a point in our society where there are those who are trying to make people they're trying to force group think on everybody and not allow freedom of thought. And it's pretty sickening and it's scary. But the idea that these men, not even these men, that these people want to tell a woman that she can't have an abortion, I just don't see why you care so much. If it's not you, it's not your kid or your fetus or your kid to be, like, why do you care?
It is. It's a very interesting conversation that obviously is had around this. And my biggest thing with it is I actually can see it from both ways in a weird way.
Okay.
Now, I'm personally somebody that's pro-choice. I believe that women should have control of their bodies, and more importantly, they ultimately make that decision. Now, I am also somebody that I know it depends on the law. I believe that there should be a set time for it. I think that's kind of my thing. Like, I know that there have been in some cases, basically, women could almost have them all the way up until 3 months, and so like, I'm against that, and so like, look, I am against.
You say that, bro? I was born at 7 months.
That's right. And there's preemies out here. It's just I'm just against that. I think that there should be a set time. I don't know what that time is because I'm not a health professional and I'm not an OBGYN. I don't know too much about that. But I think that ultimately in those situations, it doesn't really matter what the reason is that you're getting it done. Whether that be your young parents and you shouldn't have been having unprotected sex and you're just not ready to be parents, or you know that you're not in a position to take care of a child, which a lot of people don't realize, man. That is some work. Let me tell you, that shit's some work. But you ease into it. Like, you know what I mean? You'll ease into it. But certainly you do need to be in a position to be able to take care of a child. Like, that's how, I've never understood how like teenage kids. I mean they're fucking obviously. That's how you have a child. But like how like a 16, 15-year-old be having a child because the grandma's damn near taking care. You're not even.
Bro, you can't take care of yourself.
The grandma is the mom.
Like, hey, 15-year-old, put on a condom.
Well, and you would think that they would be more afraid. I mean, well, I don't know. Especially, but this has been going on for forever, and so like it's an interesting thing. So from the perspective of how I can see how the conservative aspect of it, I look at even someone like Kanye. Kanye said that his father wanted him aborted, and that if that had happened, there would be no Kanye West. And right, so and then of course that Kim wanted to abort North, and it tears him up because he thinks of if this decision was made out of selfishness in a sense of just because we don't want to have a child or we're not ready right now or whatever the reason is, he would be missing out on his first daughter that he loves so much that he's so glad is here, and that decision wasn't that big. But then, of course, on the other side of the spectrum, and why I lean towards pro-choice, is because I just think that it's up to that individual. I determine it's not a good comparison, and I'm not trying to compare in that way, but I determine what I put into my body. I get to determine everything about my body, whether I want to work out, whether I want to crush some beers, if I want to do recreational drugs, for my lungs. I mean, whatever it is, I have
crush some claws, hit some snatch raw.
Yeah, I make those are decisions that I can make, and I don't see why this would be any different for a woman. I know everybody's like, "Well, it's another life involved." That's where my time comes into it, the time frame of when it happens to me.
But you know what, man? I'll tell you, because I get so flummoxed about when people care about what other people are doing, right? Like people who call the police on other people when the thing doesn't affect them. It's like, why are you calling the cops? Or why are you intervening in these two people about to fight? You don't know why they're fighting. It's none of your business.
Right.
And then I was having a conversation, and I was told, it's population control. Like the emergence of abortions originally came up. And these are not my thoughts; these are thoughts that were given to me. Right, the emergence of abortions came to control Black people. Right.
Yes.
And you can look at the locations of Planned Parenthood and stuff. There's an argument for it, and even if you take it back to feminism, women's suffrage, and all of that, Susan B. Anthony and them, they really wasn't riding with the Black woman. They were just riding with the woman, right, white woman. And then I was told that. Again, I was told, I have not fact-checked this, that abortion is happening more in the white community. And because America is becoming the melting pot that we said it was, it's actually becoming that it's being used, again, we're reversing it as a means of population control to ensure that white people stay the majority. I don't know that to be true. I've not done any research into it. Obviously, you can't find that shit on paper. It's conspiracy. It's believable conspiracy. Not to say that I believe it. But what are your thoughts on that?
It sounds like something that could be true.
Okay.
But at the same time, like anything else, it's a conspiracy as far as I'm concerned, because there is nothing to prove this. Like it's not that it can't be right in front of us and it just be like, open your eyes, man. Like, look at this. Like, you know what I mean? Because it could be something to that effect, to where if you really do just take a look at it. Now, I don't know if you know where, because it's such a random thing to even look up. But for instance, I know for a fact that there's an abortion clinic in Buckhead. There's one on the road is Wensica Road.
Okay.
And Wensica Road, if you look it up, those are some of the most baller fucking houses in Buckhead. Literally not even a mile away.
Okay.
And I've seen it. Now, this is how I know. Because I've driven past it. And if you're in Buckhead in the morning, because typically I would imagine, I guess that's when people would go get that done. I don't know. But either way, I've had to be in Buckhead in the morning, and I've driven past this place. and there's like, 8, and I had to for a minute I had to go past it almost every other day. Every morning these people were out there. There's like 6, 8 people. They're holding up signs. They got Bible verses. They're trying to basically, it appears, convince the people coming in to not go in and do it. And so, I said,
you know what we should do? We should go find one of those Bible beaters rallies, right?
Yeah.
And get and get the scripture in the Bible where God talks about not judging because the one who judges will be judged. and we should have a God off, right?
Right.
Because what I've come to realize is that a lot of the people who scream how much they love God and are constantly in support of the Bible and church, I don't think they look at the scripture for what it's meant, what I think the intentions of it is to say, hey, do right by people, treat people better, believe in a higher power because he can deliver you because we're all flawed human beings.
Right.
Instead of saying like, look at me, I'm living life better than you, you should live more like me. I admit that I'm flawed, and I go, you should like look towards God to improve yourself because I'm not him and I can't be him.
And none of us can, because we're all, I mean, and that's the whole premise of Christianity, right? I mean, that is where that line typically gets drawn, is because this is as people, we are all flawed. We're all sinners, and it's no sin is. Now, of course, from the human perspective, murdering somebody is worse than me going to go steal candy.
Yeah, like, absolutely. Like,
right? We know how to do it, but based on what Scripture says, there is no sin that's greater than the other. Whether that in the Bible, where I guess it can be claimed that being gay is a sin, right? That's what's said.
But that
or what is preached, at least.
Right. And that goes to forgiveness.
Whether it's interpreted wrong or not. But
I think humans struggle to forgive, especially when it's personal to them, right? Well, not even when it's personal to them, because when it has nothing to do with them, right? Like, humans struggle to forgive in general. Like, what makes no sin greater than the other is that God can forgive anything as long as you change your heart. You change your actions.
Absolutely.
Right? And humans, we don't do that because there is somebody who is judging us by who we were 8 years ago in college. It goes, hey,
and still has that belief of that's this person,
right? And I've had conversations with people from, like, especially now that I live in Albany, I go back to Cartersville more, and people will say something to me, and I'll go, dog, I did that 12 years ago when I graduated from high school. Do you not think I act different at 30? Oh, dang, bro, I thought you was. No, I'm a mature human being. I grow and I develop, and just like with growth and development, we've seen the growth and development of the treatment of the heckler at the comedy show.
Right.
Because, we saw Will Smith try to keep it real, and Chris Rock didn't respond. But we saw some rando try to keep it real with Dave Chappelle.
You saw that video too
of Dave wanting to smoke.
Man, but it's so funny. He's like, I gotta go see this shit. Like, this was honestly straight out of Chappelle show, like skit, like low key. And then when he was over there, he's like, but he literally, you could hear him say it through the mic. He's like, stomp him. And then obviously the cherry on top is the fact that Chris Rock was there, and then he's been waiting to get that off for so long, and that was obviously the perfect time to do it. Somebody running up on stage to get someone,
and then all the heavy hitters are in there because he even like shouted out Jamie Foxx for coming out on stage because Jamie was there. Will Smith, is that you?
Right. It was, and I'm sure that Chappelle was probably one of the people that ended the night. he's a headliner, and
Yeah,
so
the night was over.
But either way, it was going to be a running joke throughout the entire. Online. It's going to continue to be one.
And I'm not one who promotes violence, but I promote adequate retaliation when necessary.
And that's why I begged the question of whether or not that guy was going to be able to sue. I feel like there has to be something in there to where
he can sue and lose.
Well, and that was going to be the other thing. First of all, depending on, unless somebody, Ben Crumps this thing and they just take over the case because they're like, oh, yeah, there's definitely an opportunity to take money from Dave and Netflix. We can sue the whole damn thing if that's what you want to do. But we're going to get 99% of it, and you're going to just get enough to take care of your medical bills. But outside of that, yeah, we'll do it just so we can get paid. Like, outside of that, he's going to get a public defender.
You talking about
More than
Black China's lawyer?
Huh?
You talking about like Black China's lawyer who tried to sue the Kardashian empire for $100 million?
Yes. Or like the people that try and sue Drake like randomly for whatever reason. Like one chick tried to sue him because she broke into his property.
I'm gonna take this pro bono.
Yeah, and so it's crazy. It's really is crazy, man. But we knew that eventually that somebody was gonna try some shit like that at a comedy show.
And I think Chappelle is a comedian who has said enough things that you can understand.
That pisses people off.
Yeah. Like Dave Chappelle, he sits and calls you broke at his shows like Jay-Z does in his verses.
Well, yeah, because you went and saw Chappelle, right?
Yeah, I went saw the documentary thing, and he was like, he said something. He was like, "See, y'all can't relate to that because I'm rich. Y'all want."
Right. Now he's a real look. Dave's a real nigga. I thoroughly enjoyed his show.
I do too. Because if I were him, because of what he walked away from, and when he walked away from it, you got to understand he's, as they say, he's cut from a different cloth. You know what I'm saying? But he really is. Like he stands on what he believes in, and that's why he's doubled down.
I was about to say, well, and think about it, and it ended up really working out better because let's say he did even take that deal, you could have got some bad seasons of Chappelle Show potentially.
Did you see season 3?
It wasn't that bad. There were some funny skits on there, but think about it. They were basically stuff that he mainly had cut. I mean, it
was headed to what the last season of the Boondocks was. Same direction.
That was rough.
Exactly.
That was rough, and I don't know why they're even going to try and reboot that especially with
John Witherspoon's dead. That's stupid.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to be able to pull that one off, but but speaking of reboots, I think I put it in there that you saw they're going to do a reboot of That 70s Show, and everybody is returning except the guy that played Hyde, because of course he's like caught up in like rape case. I don't know if you were a big That 70s Show. I used to love That 70s Show.
I watched it when it was on. Is Hyde the little gay one?
No, that's Fez, and that's Wilmer Velma.
Okay.
Because he did the show Yo Mama and.
Okay. Oh, that was him,
Hyde is the guy, is the weed head.
Okay.
I mean, I guess they all smoke because that's what they would do in the basement. But like,
so we got Ashton Kutcher and married Mila Kunis.
Yeah, they're both going to be on it. So is Topher Grace and Donna, the girl that played Donna, and so are the parents. Like, they basically have got everybody to come back except Hyde. Like, everybody's going to come back, and they're calling it That 90s Show, and of course it's on Netflix. So like,
I saw the clips going for it because I saw the parents looking old as shit. Don't tell Cindy this, but Mila Kunis, she does it for me. Huge fan.
She always did, man. I mean, and that's why I was such a big fan, And then what made it crazier, as a kid, you don't pick up on stuff. You can tell somebody's voice is the same. But, of course, to find out that she was Meg Griffin, when you're like 12, you're like, oh, shit, she plays Meg. But Meg's, like, hideous on the show. Like, and Mila's so fucking bad. Like,
oh, God. Was it Bad Moms?
No, Mila's one. She's the equivalent of how I used to feel about what's her face on Cousin Skeeter.
Megan Good?
Yeah, man. Megan Good on Cousin Skeeter. When I was younger, I was like, bro, this is like the hottest.
I was a Beyonce and J-Lo guy growing up, And as I've gotten older, I've like obviously they're amazing, but I've become less of them. You know, like
Well,
once the
me and
Beehive,
you, we share one person,
J-Lo or Beyonce.
Drea.
Ho 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 ho! You stop it! You stop it!
I'm just saying. And Drea, I've been thought. I was
Yeah.
like, man, I
Yeah.
was like, I gotta get my funds up, like straight up.
But you know what? She's not even the total sack chaser because she was like with Orlando Scandrick.
Right, and he was. He had that one year where he got kind of paid.
Yeah, but
He's
like,
making maybe 7 or 8 a year, but like,
but on the level of rich guys that she could have been with, you know, like they had kids and shit. Like that was white.
But think about it, everybody always rumored that her first son was like Gilbert Arenas' kid.
Well, Gilbert is he one of them.
Right, Gilbert is the guy that signed $100 million contract,
Right, and got paid a lot
and
of
then
money.
and then didn't play like at all after he signed it, like literally.
You know, it's funny you bring up these celebrity women, and I think that takes us right into the
The
Met
Met.
Gala. Yeah. So, you know, I had like strong opinions on the Met a few years ago. I think it was last year when AOC showed up making her political stance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, hey, you're a politician. Go to work and make your political stance. I don't need you raising awareness at the Met Gala. Because I question why you're here with the rappers, the trappers, the ball players, Russell Wilson and skirts. Excuse me, kilts. Sorry, kilts.
Well, Russell Westbrook. You said Wilson.
I said Wilson. Well, Westbrook. Oh yeah, Russ Wilson wasn't there this year. Well, he didn't make the pictures.
Well, Sierra was there.
You know, I should ask my friend if Russell Wilson was there, but she probably won't text me back because
Because you're fucking sleazy, man. You can't even remember a fucking birthday.
Oh, sorry that I have a girlfriend and I live a totally different life that is devoid of you and your significant dates.
Bad man. That's what she's saying. She's like waving her hand. She's like, bad man.
You're committed to your girl. Like,
right. She's like,
know.
nigga, you should still be thirsting over me.
You know what? That's a conversation that we should do on a different podcast. We're not 2 hours in about like the audacity.
We could dedicate a whole show to some shit like that.
Yeah, no, I think we could like
get some misogynistic guys to come in like Josh.
Josh, we can't get Josh. Josh won't come in.
We could throw Matt in there.
We can get Matt in there because Matt was mansplaining to women on International Women's Day.
Yeah, it was. You know, I'm interested to hear his take on Roe v. Wade.
You know what? Matt probably got a favorable DM when he was telling women about their bodies that day.
Call that nigga Dr. Flowers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he knows exactly what's right for them.
He defies gravity.
But
Matt the only nigga I know who can come out with foundation and some slate eyebrows or eyelashes and hit something that we couldn't if we wanted to.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. And well, think about it now, even for him. I mean, he's a little shocked. I think Matt's a little butthurt that I won something and he didn't. And it's okay. I mean, here's the thing. Look, I like to try and be competitive with Matt because me and Matt have had similar experiences, and
y'all had some battles. I mean,
it feels good to get this W. You know what I mean? This was a hard fought one.
You know, getting a dub on Matt, yeah, because I know I've been in a situation where I thought I was going to seal a deal, and this was years ago, 10 years ago, and Matt shows up. I had no idea Matt had history, and all that work I put in was for nothing. Like, hey, bro, he don't get to show up at fucking 2:00 and win, but he does. But he does.
Yeah, well, it's almost as if, you know, he was doing it on purpose or something. Where he could have been just got done doing something and then came over, and then it's just like that work gets thrown out the door.
It's like one time he pulled up to like a Purdue party, and like, you know, he rarely partied with us all night.
Yeah,
and it's like, really, dude? Like, I mean, I'm not mad at you because that's the game, and that's consent also.
Right.
But fuck, I could have talked to this little 6 over here and probably sealed it up. I was being optimistic. I didn't think I was playing in the flower patch.
Well, yeah, you're over there, giving her Instagram like Met Gala compliments. You know how paganism the Met Gala is,
Yeah,
and then Matt just shows up, and it would be the equivalent to somebody kind of like how we said with LeBron. And I know that's a weird analogy and bringing it in, but kind of like what we said with LeBron, how the NBA playoffs are going on, but somehow, some way, everybody's talking about fucking LeBron James. Like, what does this nigga have to do with any of this basketball that's going on? I mean, we're going to have plenty of time in the offseason to talk about what the Lakers are doing. The coach already been fired. All this is going on, but we want to talk about him. And Matt's the guy. He hadn't been there the whole fucking night. And just somehow he just swoops in like fucking Batman to save Gotham or something. I mean, this guy, the Joker, has been blowing buildings up all day. And this guy shows up because a fucking symbol goes up. And now he just saves the fucking city.
The Matt symbol.
Yeah, the Matt symbol. I mean,
well, man, like, let's get back to the Met Gala. The Met Gala is disgusting.
It's paganism at its finest, literally.
I don't know what happens in there.
I don't know what the event is. I'm thinking that they're all coming together to donate X amount of dollars to give to something. The fucking Red Cross. I mean,
well, maybe
the American Cancer Society. I mean,
maybe they're giving it to the Met, and the New York Mets are getting richer.
They got the richest owner in sports, which nice cover by the Braves today to salvage that series. Considering coming into it, if they had won 3 out of 4, that would have put the Braves. The Braves they're already back like 6 games. So you start talking about if they got swept, they would have been down 10. That's an early hole that's tough to get out of. It is. So for them to go in and there be no difference, and you split 2 on the road, I'll take it. But no, seriously, the Met Gala is paganism at its finest. I don't think I've ever seen an event where it's all about taking pictures and posting them on the Shade Room, Hollywood Unlocked, Spiritual Word.
But
whatever gossips, Variety.
There's no pictures on the inside. Like, they keep the whole inside private. That's what makes me think you got what's her name? With a Machine Gun Kelly and whatever that girl's name is.
Drinking blood and shit.
Drinking blood
Megan
sacrifice.
Fox. Right?
Yeah, Megan Fox. Yeah, Megan Fox. Doing blood sacrifices. I don't know what's going on in there.
Well, and you have to think about it. It's such a diverse group of people.
Hillary Clinton is there.
I know. That's what I'm saying. There's politicians in there.
OBJ.
There's movie stars. There's TV people. There's
Young Thug. Why is Young Thug and Hillary Clinton in the same room ever? I don't even know if Thug went this year. I'm just saying.
Well, Wanna was there.
Who? Oh,
Wanna?
Yeah,
because he looked like fucking Count Chocula or something. Or Count Dracula.
I'm tired of people saying that Wanna be fresh because he don't. I rarely.
Shit was ugly, and but you know what? That's what they want. The thing is that maybe
it's a puppet,
club, right?
Maybe it's a puppet show, right? Maybe it's these rich designers just seeing how stupid they can make these niggas look to go to their show.
And then they still pay them for the shit.
Because like Jack Harlow, he was clean. Like, he had on just like a basic tuxedo that cost more money than a tuxedo I'll probably ever pay for.
Right.
Even
First class.
Right. That shit hard. You got Alicia Keys with New York City on her back. It's like, yeah, we get it, Alicia. You're from New York. Got it.
Right. And you keep dropping the tracks that are you paying homage to New York.
Like, maybe you should leave New York for a long time. Like, maybe you got that rat vermin in your water, and you just sick. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then even your boy Skeet Davidson, he came in there pretty fresh. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, he was basic. He looked like a blues brother, but
I think that's how I would look going to something like that. You know, I may play with a little bit of color here or there, but I'm still gonna be like classy, simple.
So, and that's what I would probably do. Like, for me, I love blazers. Like, I love blazers. Like I wouldn't. I don't mind doing a whole suit that's the same color as long as it's fly as fuck. Like, and that's why I've been trying to cut down on some weight too. Because I love the way like there's certain types of looks that you can do, but like I'm a big fan of having a blazer that pops now, and I don't want it to be all these crazy designs. I just like a good color,
bro. Yeah, like,
but it's sleek, and then the material being good. Like,
I can't find my velvet maroon blazer, dog. Like, I cannot find it. I have no idea where it's at.
Velvet. Oh yeah, okay, man. But it's even crazier too. Speaking of, you're saying velvet, but maroon blazers in general. I never got my Morehouse fucking blazer. They never gave it to me.
It's fine. I don't know where mine's at, and I'm not looking for it.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought it was a part of that NSO freshman year shit. I never got that shit.
And you know what? You're a Pete who never got something, and Pete Davidson should have never got Kanye's kids tatted on him.
And he didn't even get their names, just the first initial, and it's pretty much implied. It's like, K for Kim, N for North, P for Psalm, C for Chicago, and then I'm forgetting one.
And then one like East or West?
There's North, Chicago, Psalm.
South?
Nah. I don't remember his third child's name. I don't follow these people that well. I just know that those are definitely three of them.
Yeah, no.
Nonetheless, point being, it's very apparent who it is, and it's just like, and
how did it
everybody's
leak?
upset at this guy Kanye. It's like I'd be fucking going wild too if a nigga's out here getting. This is the type of person that we're dealing with, and I don't know. I just think that shit's simp behavior.
That's why he gave Future that verse on the album that just dropped.
Yeah.
Like, hey, bro, you keep playing with me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're in love with your significant other and you want to do tattoos as a dedication to him or her, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's your prerogative.
Me and my partner, we got a tattoo.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not like on your ass, is it?
No, like it's visible.
Okay.
So her favorite band, her favorite like rap group is Wu-Tang. So I got the Wu-Tang W on my thigh. And then my favorite rapper is Gucci Mane. She got the ice cream cone like.
Oh wow, but see, that's pretty cool though.
Exactly, but like it's a us thing. If you saw it, you wouldn't know what it was.
You might even just think you're just a fan.
Exactly. But nonetheless, like if you want to do tattoos with your partner, like that's cool. Like I'm not going to knock it. But if I was dating a girl with kids or a woman with kids, I'm not getting their initials across my chest. Like fuck, I look like
yeah. Well, and a chick that's like 17 years older than you, like or 15, whatever the distance is. Well, how old is Kim? Kim's probably 43, 44. Yeah. She's like Kanye's age. 42.
Pete's like your age, right?
Yeah, he's 28.
So, and I look at it like this, man, because when I was single and anytime I would encounter a woman with kids, I was always mindful of the relationship with her baby daddy. Like if I had been cool with her, like while they was together, I'm like, this can't go anywhere because if he knew I existed, I've always been plotting, and he and I gotta be cool. Like cause I'm a step parent, but I still want you to co-parent, but like I don't want you to be tripping about me step parenting your kids. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I feel like if I go get the initials tatted,
it's a battle that can't be won.
That shit for sale, and Pete should get his ass whooped. I think that's Pete's problem. I don't think Pete been beat up before. Pete has I ain't been beat up before behavior.
No, absolutely.
And he ain't Chris Rock funny to get away with doing flagrant shit.
No, he isn't. You're absolutely right. And it's just, it's just one of those weird ass things where, this is a dude that was, for what it's worth, really, yeah, people know that he's on SNL, but he's a relatively unknown.
He's more known for the women that he's been with than like the work
than his career.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of crazy because it's just like, how are you bagging Ariana? Like, how does that happen? Like, and it really makes you wonder, bro, because he not paid. Now he ain't doing bad. What are you doing?
He got that right there.
Oh, well, right. Well, according to who is it? Charlemagne, I think.
I don't believe anything he says.
Well, he's the one that said that Kanye came to him about it or something. But
I don't believe anything Charlemagne says. Charlemagne is like he's in Stephen A's category of people who speak on our community because they built credibility within our community, but they're not espousing our views. So fuck Charlemagne.
Yeah, shit. Gosh, I wonder why a guy like Charlemagne's not at the Met.
Because he's gonna come back on the Breakfast Club and spill all the tea. Because
he's like, oh yeah, man, we were drinking blood. Hell, they actually went on ahead and sacrificed the next person that is gonna die here in a couple of months.
Or or maybe they won't let him in there because he might bring the Spanish flies and put it in the blood.
Oh shit!
his words, not mine.
Yeah.
Check the tapes.
But like I said, it's one of those weird ass things, and I mean, even think about it. Which it's kind of gangster what Kim did she purchased Marilyn Monroe's dress. Right? Apparently that's the dress that she wore when she sung "Happy Birthday" to President Kennedy. Fucking what? Are we creeping up on 70? Definitely 60 years ago.
Something like that. Well, Marilyn Monroe singing "Happy."
Had it in the early 60s.
Hey, Kennedy was a bad. You know what I mean? Marilyn and Jackie O.
And I'm trying to think. Jackie O has a significance with Birkin bags, doesn't she?
I don't know. I just know she's fine. And when
one of the more solid looking first ladies, especially from back in the day.
When Black Twitter was saying Michelle Obama was the finest first lady ever, I was like, she's pretty. She's a nice looking woman, but y'all seen Jackie O?
It's really Sasha. Sasha nice. Well, I mean, she's nice. I'm just saying. But nonetheless, I think she's 21 now. But nonetheless,
she's old enough for you to say that.
Yeah, and so she's nice.
I think she did justice in his age bracket.
Yeah, that wheelhouse. She's nice. She's nice. But Coretta Scott was a baddie too.
She was.
She actually looked really good.
Yeah.
And she didn't go to Spelman or nothing, did she? She didn't go to
Spelman. I think he met her when he was
Reverend, he was being a preacher.
When he was up north at I think he was at Boston University for his PhD.
Okay. Yeah. She was nice. She was nice.
She was
good until she was old too.
Yeah,
for her age, she looked good.
Maybe we should come up with a list of low key baddies from back in the day. Baddies from back in the day.
And honestly, it's got to be prior to 1980.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's when, to me, pop culture really took off. So
we need some good black and white picks.
Yes, it's got to be prior to the. And like I said, we can even throw the 70s. The 70s are fine because you start talking about that's 50 years ago, almost, right? Depending on what year, you're closer to the 50-year mark, and so we should. We need to write that down.
We do because we got some dumb poppy topics that we think about as we're recording, but we don't have to research in our brains.
Right.
We gotta start writing that shit down. Hey, let's do this last topic because you came up with a pretty dope topic that we polled on Instagram, and we're talking about the greatest comeback ever. And you sent your results, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense because people want to antagonize you. And
I do believe that I'm not going to say all of them were that way, but there were certainly a few people that I was like, okay.
And I saw my initial results, and I was like, okay, mine's trending in the right direction. But by the time, I sent them in, I'm like, shit, we're in the same place. And so for the listeners, we put the Falcons 28-3 loss to the Patriots against the Warriors 3-1 comeback at the hands of the Cavaliers, at which one was the worst, which one was the greatest comeback ever, or which one is the
worst meltdown?
Is the worst meltdown.
And I would think that both of them, if they did an NCAA bracket of that type of stuff, because there's obviously in football, there's been bigger comebacks, not in the Super Bowl, but in the playoffs even. I remember one year Andrew Luck and the Colts were down 35-0 or so. It was 20-31-0. They came back and won the game in regulation. Didn't even go into overtime. But, and then, of course, in the NBA, we've never seen
3-1
3-0. Now, I think about it, but even baseball, the Red Sox came back and beat the Yankees down 3-0. And I guess, I could have even added that to it. But so many people weren't watching sports like that are in our age group. And certainly maybe not baseball. I remember it because I was like 10.
Yeah, but
I remember it.
Those people don't watch sports now. So they definitely weren't watching sports back then.
Right. And I remember it, of course, just because you had Johnny Damon, Pedro Martinez. They had a big scuffle, I remember, with
Don Zimmer.
Yeah, Don Zimmer's old ass getting fucking thrown. I was at the airport, and funny enough, we were headed to New York when that happened.
Well, to bring it back to this, and here's where I think that the argument can go for the Warriors being less impressive, because each game is a different game, And
2 of those games were played in Oakland, by the way.
I think the Warriors dropped the ball way more than the Falcons did, especially because I watched all of these games. Because you look at it, like, each game is a separate game, but at the end of the day, you can't allow that momentum to build up. And you lost Game 7 like in your house, could not make a shot for like the
Danny
last.
Green is the worst 3-point specialist, by the way. Keep going. I'm sorry, I just had to get that out.
That's fine. But then you look at the Falcons game, and here goes my Falcons bias. I watched that game, and the Falcons were not on the field for a very long time. And one of the reasons why I say Luka Doncic plays losing basketball, because his teammates get cold because they're not touching the ball. Same thing, the Falcons, Matt Ryan was not touching the ball. It broke the offensive rhythm. And again, we can beat up on Kyle Shanahan for some play calls, but Matt Ryan took the sack. Maybe we should have ran the ball. And on the play where the holding got called, Mohamed Sanu called a fucking first down. What was the Edelman catch that was like on the turf? Like, there's so many things that
would never happen. Like,
again,
you do that, you play that 10 times, that's the one time it happens.
Exactly. So,
and then there's less than a one-time chance that it even happens. The probability of that catch was damn near 0.
And the probability of that holding call is what?
The holding call, the missed block by Devontae Freeman that sets up the strip sack that gives New England the momentum. Them converting
fourth down. Well,
4th downs, and then all the 2-point conversions. If you just get 1 2-point conversion, stop. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong for the Falcons. And it's in what is obviously to date, at least, the closest that team has ever gotten to winning a championship. It is the most bittersweet moment ever, because it's the greatest Falcons team ever.
Yeah.
It's the greatest team in franchise history. And you can't explain how they cooked it. because if you just watch it, I mean, it was unbelievable. Like, everything in sequence was unbelievable. From just, the beginning of it to where and what people don't even remember, too, is that before halftime, New England got a field goal. We were up 21-0. They got a field goal at the end of that half.
But that's what Bill does. He likes to win the middle late.
And it was just so much that you could look into it. Now, when I look at that Warriors series, I guess I look at what triggered more. And which is why kind of when I put up my poll, you put it up the same one, but like why I even went into explanation of both scenarios. I look at it this way. New England went on to win the Super. They went to 2 more in a row after that.
And what
they won one, they lost one.
If they lose that Super Bowl, maybe Tom gets kicked out of town and Jimmy G's the guy, though.
Exactly. And these are the things I'm talking about, the domino effect. Maybe, I don't know, but because I guess Kyle was going to be gone anyways, but I know they hadn't named the OC yet. But who's to say that they go and get Sark and don't just hire LaFleur? We don't know. Like, I don't, because maybe they would want to keep him more in house, or Kyle would even give the recommendation of who he thought should take over. And it's not a DQ slash Thomas slash fucking, what's his goddamn name?
McKay? Rich?
McKay decision. Maybe it doesn't turn into that, and you don't get a guy like Sark that's never been an offensive coordinator. Maybe, maybe Dwight Freeney would have probably still retired because he would have went out on top.
Well, what if
maybe,
Julio
in a weird way, maybe you don't even give Devontae Freeman the money.
Maybe Julio doesn't let the ball go between his fingers the next year, and we put Philly
and
out
you run it back.
Right
you run it back again.
I think so many people forgot like how close we were, and they talk about, the Falcons never recovered from 28-3. Yes, we did. We got to the playoffs the next year, similar offense under Sark, and the
offense wasn't what it was that was Julio, the defense we needed. That year the defense was like 10th. It was a top 10 defense, and the offense went from 1 to like middle of the pack. We were like 14, 15. Right. It wasn't terrible. We just weren't scoring 30 a game.
Exactly. And then let's look at Golden State, though, because the Golden State dominoes are so much bigger because they get Kevin Durant. They win 2 more rings. They go to 1 more finals. He gets hurt. He leaves. They suck. You know what I mean? Like,
Klay's out for 2 years.
They get Kuminga. They get they draft Wiseman over LaMelo Ball, dummies. They drafted Jordan Poole after KD left. He gets to go to the G League and develop because they fucking suck. So who cares, right? And then he gets to come up in his own time because what the Warriors are doing, they're trying to compete and develop at the same time. It's crazy that it's working, but they're doing it. And what if the Warriors win? No KD.
Well, and right. Does KD run it back with the Thunder? Or does he just go to Boston? Like, what does he do? Because I know that he said that Boston was second to Golden State.
The Clippers the Clippers had a chance.
Yeah, and I'm sure that they would have, because that would have been him with CP3 and probably Blake, because they probably would have had to trade somebody in the deal.
Blake or DeAndre, take your pick. Who cares who leaves at that point in time, because you have CP3 and KD.
Probably would have been Blake.
Right, and then you don't get KD and Kyrie, which is the most skilled duo ever.
Right, a lot changes, and I think that was kind of what I wanted to look at with it. Examine which one had much more of an impact, and obviously the 3-1 had a much bigger impact.
Absolutely,
it changed, and I think LeBron already had an opinion on LeBron, right, in general, that he was still great, but I think that him winning that title is truly what catapulted him, in my opinion, because I still, even as a Kobe fan, and then you can be both. You can be a Kobe and a LeBron fan, but I think that even when you just look at it, it's just kind of like that is like the single greatest accomplishment of any athlete in any sport, in my opinion, from a team standpoint. Him leaving and then burning his jersey to coming back and getting a title and then doing it in the fashion he did it against who he did it and what it had to take for them to stop him again.
Like the 40-40 games with him and Kyrie, crazy. The niggas was going ham. I was in David Buster.
Right. And then let's not forget too. Now, right, this is the same series where LeBron led like the total number in every statistical category, correct?
Yes.
And I know that people want to. Look, Kyrie, rightfully so, because Kyrie was balling his ass off. He was in. Steph Curry was league MVP. Draymond might have been Defensive Player of the Year. No,
maybe, I don't know. I'm shaking my head. Maybe.
Nonetheless, I can tell you that all 3 of them niggas were all NBA. They were all on the 3 All NBA teams.
And Kyrie,
Steve Kerr was Coach of the Year. They won 73 games.
And we were really questioning if Steph Curry, like there was a Steph Curry Kyrie argument because when Kyrie gets in front of Steph
freezes. He doesn't look like Steph Curry.
And here's the thing that gets missed in the media argument, right? Because yes, Steph has the stats, Steph has the production that Kyrie doesn't have. But
you could argue because of the way that he plays the game.
Steph plays a game of basketball that's easier to play alongside.
Well, and now it's what some people want to call the trend.
Right, because Steph can play off ball really well. Steph plays off ball really well. I'm not going to say can. He does play off ball really well because I think Kyrie can play off ball really well when he wants to, right? But when Steph sees Kyrie, it's like when motherfuckers looking at mirror and start screaming Bloody Mary. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you supposed to say it 7 times? You get to that 6th time,
right?
And you know it's fake, but you be like, nah, I'm gonna turn the lights back on and go back upstairs. When Steph see Kyrie, he get a little bit different because Steph knows. And here's the thing that Steph knows, the player goes, he can do everything that I can do. There are things that he does I can't do. I cannot do that. And they don't sit right with me. You know what I mean? And I think that was the Russell Westbrook thing, why NBA players like him so much. Skill wise, no, there's not much that Russell can do that other niggas can't do because his game is not highly skilled. But they look at the
athleticism,
the speed and intensity that he
there's not very many niggas that are more athletic than, like, think about it. When you look at Westbrook, obviously,
he's a football player.
There's the triple double effect, but people, it's weird because I know that it's been compared before, but what an idiot. Tyler Hero's a fucking idiot. But nonetheless, I just saw the stupidest fucking foul. They're up 13. It's 3 minutes left. Mm-hmm. They're up 13, and they got a fast break steal, and this nigga fouls Tobias Harris. It's just like, bro, he was clearly gonna dunk that shit. Like what was that all about? But nonetheless, I just think that when you break it down in totality, I think that, first of all, I think losing 3 games is a lot worse than losing a big lead. You had 3 different chances to close out, and 2 of those times were at home, and you have won more games than anyone in NBA history heading into these games. No team has won more games than you. None. No Jordan team, no Celtic team, no Wilt team, no Magic and Kareem. Nobody's won as many games as you guys.
They would have been the best team of all time had they win that. But when we look back on it, they don't get respect in any of the greatest teams of all time. Even
nobody even brings it up like that. More people bring up the fact that Brady and them went 16-0 still than they do the Warriors going 73-9.
Which is crazy because the Warriors got
and I think it's because but think about it. It's similarly in a sense of dynasty-wise because they still got 3 rings. Granted, KD's a part of 2 of them. But they still got 3 rings. And then Brady and them obviously ended up getting 6.
Who would you rather get beat by in your career year, right? LeBron James or Eli Manning?
LeBron.
I can go home and say, I got beat by the nigga who they compare to MJ.
Or who's eventually going to be the all-time leading scorer in the league, and that might have not even been his strongest
attribute
of his game.
Yeah, right.
Like.
Whereas, hold on, Eli was great at what?
Managing the game. in big games, he does a hell of a job. He makes the right throws. I mean,
yeah, like Eli won playoff games and 2 playoff runs.
Yeah, and just think about it too. The road that Eli traveled to get to that championship, both of those were interesting to say the least. That first year, he beats Brett Favre in Lambeau, and I think they might have been the second team to do it. Mm-hmm. Or no. Did the Vikings the Vikings the year that Randy Moss did that disgusting act, according to Joe Buck? Did they beat them? I think they did beat them.
I don't know. Too. I just know the first people to do it was the Falcons.
Michael Vick. Yeah. Yes, sir. I remember that game. It was snowing in Georgia that day.
Yeah. I remember watching it with my mom.
Me too. I remember it so well. That's why I can tell you what the weather was like. I remember it very well.
Let's wrap this up. I got to go to happy hour.
Oh, for sure. But nonetheless, just to kind of wrap up the greatest comeback ever, I just think that it's not even a biasness. This is truly an objective view of it. I think that it's way worse to have the greatest record in NBA history and have 3 chances to close out a series. And I guess I tell you what, there is the one caveat to throw into those 3 games. Draymond suspended in game 6.
Well, he shouldn't have had that many points. like Draymond asked for what he gets, and did LeBron taunt him by teabagging him? Yes, but he's LeBron, you're Draymond. Know where you stand in this league.
Who, Dre?
Yeah, and I mean Draymond.
You're going crazy right now.
Who, Butler or Vic?
Yeah, Vic.
Hey.
Let me see. What does Vic got? Vic got 19 and 6.
Oh yeah, we about to get a new deal. Yeah, we definitely get a new deal.
Yeah.
But hey, man, this was good. I'm gonna see you Friday.
Absolutely. I'm glad we got to finally get this done, especially after a 2-week hiatus.
Honestly, this was the greatest comeback ever. We're back on the pod.
There we go. That's a hell of a way to close this thing out.
All right, dog. I'll holler at you.
All right. Have a happy hour.
Yeah, you too.